Minnesota Wild fans, the playoffs are here, which means that we need to honor our great traditions of Minnesota hockey. And what a better way to do that than buying your very own Plant the Flag hat that we just released in partnership with Northern Lids. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm wearing it right now, but it's a really nice trucker-style black and white hat with an awesome design that our very own Marlo drew up of the famous flag that they plant before puck drop. You're going to see it happen in Friday's electric playoff home opener. And if you're aware of the story of our friend Jason Zucker, who completely destroyed one of the flag planting kids, then you'll like this hat even more. So go to our website, 10ktakesmn.com, click the shop button, buy your hat. It's only a limited supply. There's only 15 of them left as we record this on Tuesday night. We're probably never going to bring them back, just like the rest of our clothing. So once again, you can click on the link in our pinned tweet or in our bio of our TikTok or Instagram account, or go to our website, 10ktakesmn.com/shop. Get your Plant the Flag hat. We're shipping them out right away. We got all the inventory this time. We wanted fans to have them by the playoffs, be wearing them on Friday, getting loud at the X. So once again, get your hat for the playoffs and check out some of the other stuff on there. On this episode of It's a Bit, we're joined by a very special guest. We got DJ Skee. He's the DJ for the Minnesota Vikings. He's worked with all sorts of celebrities. Actually is on tour right now, I believe, with Snoop Dogg. Super awesome interview with him. We're also going to go into our bits of the week as always and end the show by drafting the worst kinds of fans. We all go to sporting events. We all deal with all sorts of fans in our lives, and we're going to draft what we think are the worst ones. So all of that and more on It's a Bit. All right, folks, welcome back to another episode of It's a Bit, presented by 10,000 Takes. My name is Bossman, joined by Wags and journalist Jake. And the NHL and NBA playoffs are here, fellas. This is the time of year, after football's done, after the Vikings inevitably get kicked out of the first round or don't even make the playoffs, that we wait because when the Wolves and the Wild are firing on all cylinders, not that the Wolves particularly did on Sunday night. We're recording this Tuesday night, but we were up late last night watching the Wild. And I just got to say, the playoff lifestyle is so much fun. Is it good for my body? Not at all. I was at Tom Reed's till 2 a.m. on a Monday night. Never thought I'd be saying that. But, up for work, 8 a.m. today, and the grind don't stop. But how are you guys feeling about being back in playoff season?
Yeah, I'm feeling great. I think Wednesday night we're going to have two Minnesota teams playing in the playoff game. Are we not? The Wild and
Wild
the
and
Wolves.
Little doubleheader. Twins might be playing too, not that they're in a playoff game, but
yeah, the fact that we have two teams in the playoffs absolutely blows my mind. Normally we maybe get one of the four
it's just
teams
the Wild
make the playoffs, right? But now we just have two fucking tomorrow night, so that's great.
This year, including with the Vikings, we have now witnessed 3 Minnesota teams make the playoffs in 2023. Hopefully we don't see the trend of losing
3 first-round exits.
Right. Look, because the Vikings obviously losing in the wild card. So hopefully we don't see the trend in terms of result, but it looks nice. It looks nice for Minnesota to finally have teams in the playoffs. And last year we had the Wolves and the Vikings were in the playoffs last year. No, the hell no, they weren't. But no, we had the Wolves and Wild in the playoffs last year at the same time, which was weird. So second straight year, both teams are in the playoffs. It's definitely weird. Playoffs.
The Twin Cities isn't a title town yet, but we're a playoff town.
We're officially a playoff town with the Wild,
and
just
we'll take
them.
that. We'll take that to the fucking moon.
Mm-hmm. And the Twins. They made the playoffs quite a few. Well, lately not so much, but
they can't even win a game.
They can't win a game since 2004.
We went to us three went to the Timberwolves play-in game last Friday. That was my first Timberwolves game in years, and I'm not gonna lie, it was an absolute blast.
It was awesome. I posted the video of the pregame. They had those light up tube things, little styrofoam wavers, and it was a religious experience. The way I worded it on the post pregame. They had the music bump in. They had a really cool, video sequence, and everyone was lighting those blue things up. And man, it was just playoff atmosphere. Just like hockey, just like that first game with the Wild. Even though the Wolves had a play-in game, it was like a back against the wall. We got to win it in, and we had a blast. Yeah, for all the people who say that 10,000 Takes doesn't cover the Wolves, times have changed.
Or we're
Times have
not
changed.
Or we're not Wolves guys. I mean, we are 100%. Excuse me, 100% Wolves guys. I got something stuck in my throat. But anyway, speaking of like those light sticks, those things were really cool. But I'm surprised there were still so many remaining. Because I saw so many kids playing with them like they're fucking lightsabers.
Yeah.
And like right in front of me when I was waiting for like you guys to get out of the restroom, there was like a group of like 4 or 5 kids just fucking beating the shit out of each other with it, and like half of them broke. And I'm like, wow, half of the stadium is just gonna look dark because no one's gonna like a lot of people they're gonna be broken. But I'm shocked a lot of people kept them intact for that awesome pregame ritual.
And I'm really glad they used those styrofoam ones because those ones that you have to blow up and you bang together, they're so
boring.
annoying and they're so loud. And like I get that's the point, but you get those little kids who bang them together constantly and dun 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 dun. It's like, buddy, it's a TV timeout. Can we just stop that for 5 seconds?
Yeah.
And I have to admit that I was betting on the over of that game, and there was quite a few frustrating times where OKC couldn't hit a single basket, which is great as a fan. But I did take a bite out of the top of one of those styrofoam sticks out of anger for a little bit there.
I was going to say OKC is the team that blew the over, not the Wolves. The
Correct.
Wolves
Wolves pulled their weight,
They went
and
off.
they won by a reasonable amount, whereas OKC looked completely opposite from the play-in game they had last Wednesday. I'm not complaining, but like what the fuck changed? The way they played against the Pelicans, I thought the Wolves were going to get crushed in that game, whereas the Wolves just completely dominated. But we also had, wild game 1 last night. As you guys saw, we were at Tom Reed's until 2 a.m. Tom Reed's Hockey City Pub is the full name.
City Hockey
Pub.
or City Hockey Pub. One or the other. That's the full name.
I've never heard anyone say those other 2 words.
Yeah.
It's
Just
just
Tom
usually
Reed's.
Tom Reed's or Tom's. But electric atmosphere. We had the reaction cam going, basically just filming the entire bar during the entire game and cutting up the parts that were goals. So that footage did really well, and it was kind of exciting to encapsulate what the playoffs are. But imagine that camera for like an away game in the Western Conference Finals, or dare I say it, even like a Stanley Cup. So just to see the way that bar was reacting at 2 a.m. on a Monday night in the first game of the playoffs, just, always begs the question of what could be if we could actually fucking make it past the first round.
Yeah, like the Wild, they scored the game-winning goal in double overtime exactly at 1 a.m., I'm pretty sure. And in the video that you guys posted, I was shocked to see so many Minnesota Wild fans still at the fucking bar at 1 a.m. on a Monday night. I mean, that goes to show how big of hockey fans there are in the state.
And there were more people there, too, actually. There were people that were leaving.
Yeah.
Like, right after the third period, and some people were asking, like, why are you leaving? Oh, I got to go home. Well, then why did you come out in the first place if you weren't expecting to stay out late to watch what could be a potentially close game? I mean, we knew this was probably going to be a close series, and people were leaving, but there were still a lot of people in there at 1:30 in the
You can't
morning.
blame anyone for leaving at a certain point,
I know,
though.
but-
I mean, the NHL screwed us over with the start time, but yeah, I can't blame anyone for
Well,
leaving
fuck
when
them.
you don't expect a hockey game to end at 1 a.m. You just don't.
I know, but it was already a late game
I mean,
anyway.
I was gonna say you can blame that on the 8:30 start.
I know.
It's totally.
It was actually, yeah.
It was basically 9
It was
because
8:50, I
because
think.
the game before always goes a little longer. It was what the Canes and the Islanders went till basically 9, so that's when the puck dropped.
Well, and boys, that pretty much leads into my bid, if you don't mind me.
Yeah,
hopping
go
right
for it.
in.
Hop
Yeah.
right in.
Can't do it yet.
I was waiting for Jack's okay.
Oh.
Yeah, here's verbal sign off.
There we go. So I got the no sleep bit, and this just is referring to start times for games are out of control. NHL, NBA, the Wolves and Wild games are starting way too late. It's just like they disregard the central time zone completely and say, nope, you guys are essentially Western. We're going to throw you on the Western time zone, and they fuck us over for everything. Timberwolves game tomorrow starts at 9. Wild puck drop tomorrow night, 8:50.
Again.
How are children supposed to watch these games? Like those are people who you really want to become fans of these teams, right, and keep growing the sport. I don't understand what the schedule makers are doing and why it has to be this way. It's unreasonable to fucking watch games at 1 a.m. when you have work the next day.
The discrimination has gone from flyover states to an entire flyover time zone.
Yeah, honestly.
They don't give a flying fuck about us little people down here in the Central. It is certainly outrageous considering the team. It's not like we're playing, West Coast teams. If we're playing, the Ducks or the Kings or someone else, I would understand maybe
Like Dallas.
Yeah, what the hell?
Same exact
No,
time.
Same
I know,
exact
right?
time zone,
Exactly.
and then we're playing Denver in the NBA, which is what, an hour behind us.
Yeah, Mountain Time or whatever. But
Okay, so they
Yeah.
can start watching a game at 6.
yeah,
there's no problem.
Exactly. I don't understand. Well, it's definitely due to TV and trying to make sure that you can spread out the games. But like, why not switch it up every other night or whatever? Like, tomorrow night, why can't they make our game the 6:30 p.m.? Why
exactly.
But they're giving it to like fucking Edmonton.
And dude, I don't even blame. At a certain point, their Stars fans started leaving, and it's like, dude, a lot of them were not expecting to stay out at 1 a.m. on a Monday night. I don't even blame that stadium for half emptying out because. Who's to say that the same thing wouldn't happen to Minnesota fans when you have work the next day?
I know,
especially these blue collar folk who are waking up at 5 a.m.
Yeah, exactly. Like you want to have a few beers and go to a hockey game. You expect it to end at least by midnight, right?
Yeah,
or that,
right.
At most by midnight.
Yeah, there's your storyline right there. The NBA and NHL hate America's backbone.
Exactly.
The workforce.
Well, you got to also
write a blog.
Yep, it's done. We also have to factor in that overtimes can definitely go much longer, and we witnessed that on Monday.
It's not
playoffs.
3-on-3 anymore.
It's 5-on-5, and players are getting tired. So like you can still crack down defensively, and that's exactly what happened. And the Wild did a great job at it, but it forced a second overtime. I thought we were going to go into a third overtime.
So did I. 100%.
Like it could honestly, it could have. Could you imagine if it would have went into like a fourth or fifth overtime, it would have ended at like 3 or 4 in the morning Central Time.
Yeah,
like the game was Central Time. It wasn't like it was out west or anything like that. That was insane.
So the NHL, they stagger these games so that essentially more people can watch the games. But you got to think the fans that had to end up leaving watching the Wild game at night because it was too late. Like you got to think that enough fans left or didn't even make up for the difference, right? Because we barely even got a lot of people barely even watch the end of that game. So we got to fix these schedule makers. We got to do something. I love the staggering idea, whoever of you guys had it, but we just start staggering these start times
a little bit, or even switch it up, almost like they flex games in the NFL. Like, hey, maybe the 4th seed and the 1st seed is not as good of a matchup as the 2nd and 3rd. I mean, we're the star of the show yesterday, going to 2 overtimes. Give the quality product the primetime spot rather than these 1st seed, 4th seed matchups because they're horseshit.
True.
Or 1st 6, 1 and 6, whatever it is.
Well, sorry, really quick. At Tom Reed's, could you hear the TV pretty well or not really?
Not so much. I think they definitely had the volume down a little bit.
It was a little muffled.
And there was a lot more people that came in there right before game time and puck drop. So there's a lot of talking.
I was wondering if you guys had opinions about potentially biased commentary or no.
I guess I don't know because I didn't really hear anything.
It was the local broadcast on Valley.
Yeah, it was Valley.
That's the version we were listening to.
Yeah, I think it was probably on ESPN as well, maybe. But
people were tweeting at me that Steve Levy clearly had money on the Stars, and God damn it, the Twins just made an error.
Damn it. Yeah, I just felt like it was weird, especially when the hit first happened. They were all in agreement. It seemed like they were like, that's 5 minutes in a game.
Oh, yeah, Dumba?
They brought in like their rules analyst. He's like, yeah, no matter how I see it, that's 5 minutes. And then the refs come and they make the call, and like then they bring back the NHL official again, and he's like, for ESPN, he's like, I guess I can see how they made that call, and they just kind of moved on, even though they were all in agreement that it was a 5-minute major.
That was a hit later in the game, right? Where like it was like behind.
No, that was Dumba's
That was on Pavelski.
On Pavelski in the second period, right?
Yes, where it was like it looked nasty, but it wasn't.
Skating back to him and he lowered his shoulder.
Yeah, and it was a clean hit.
3 seconds.
Yeah,
after,
that was
less than a second after Pavelski gets rid of the puck.
So yeah, like right away, it's like, oh shit, maybe Dumba did a nasty hit. You look at the replay; it was just
shoulder.
Never left his feet.
Pavelski just kind of like landed awkwardly. It was just a clean hit that just landed weird.
He landed on his head. That's why I got hit.
It was an unfortunate play that just happened, but that's
just part of the game.
That's what everyone online I'm seeing who's not a Dallas Stars fan is saying. Yeah, that's a clean hit, unfortunate result. If that hit happened the same way,
weird.
If that hit happened the same way and Pavelski fell on his shoulder, we're not talking about this today.
Yeah,
we're not.
So that doesn't surprise me. So all the announcers were pretty much saying, "Oh, that's a major, blah blah blah."
And that
fuck them.
In that intermission they cut, they actually have a really good ESPN intermission crew. Mark Messier, Chris Chelios, all those guys, and PK Subban. All of them were just pretty much saying like that's a defensive hockey play. It's just a hockey play. So I respected that.
That's how it is.
Yeah, the two main guys in the call seemed a little biased, but they were pretty electric when it came to the goal call. So I love that.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
So you were watching the ESPN broadcast?
Yeah, because I can't get the fucking Bally shit unless I illegally stream.
Which doesn't make sense still, but
unless you allegedly stream.
Allegedly illegally stream.
Allegedly NHL 66 with an alleged VPN.
An alleged asterisk, alleged.
Right.
10 times alleged.
But, game 1 in the books. I mean, can you imagine a scenario where we go into the first game at the X on Friday night up 2-0? Wouldn't that be something? I mean, I think everyone would have been happy with
shocked.
1-1 going into the first home game. So I feel like the hardest part is already out of the way, which is game 1. But
because I really do think I think all signs were. We've seen this before. I've seen this one where the Wild almost win game 1 last year, not so much. But they've, in a lot of their times in the last decade when they made it to the playoffs and lost in the first round, they always play the first couple games really close, especially game 1, and lose in disappointing fashion in probably overtime.
Not last year, though.
Not last year. Last year
was bad.
Last year was
game
just
1 was
horrible.
like, what, we lost 4 rip?
Yeah, exactly.
5
rip, yeah. But usually in the last 5-6 years, we would play a tight game 1, lose in a disappointing way, maybe last seconds of the game or in overtime, and then maybe get killed in game 2, and then we're down 2-0. So it's like all signs are pointing to Dallas was gonna bounce back no matter what in game 2. Really hand it to the Wild because they're at home. They got to fucking prove themselves. So all signs are pointing they're probably gonna win just because of how the things have tilted. But maybe the Wild have a new momentum and they can just new energy and just go in 2-0.
Final point on the Wild here. How fucking stupid are these Dallas fans?
Yeah, they don't know anything.
The collective intelligence, and I always think of that kid with the bowl cut mullet who yelled the N-word at that old guy who was white, and then he knocked him out, and then he was calling him little boy. That's what I think of when I think of all these people calling Russo a cuck, and saying the Dallas media saying that Matt Dumba needs to be punished tomorrow night, almost like they need to take a hit on
threatening him essentially.
Yeah. These people from Texas, man, some of them, I don't think they've ever even been to a school before. I don't know if they've ever been within 5 miles of anything educational in their life, because some of the shit that they've been coming at us with is just uneducated. It's not even oh, that's a really dumb take or that's a really hot take. It's just what they say makes no sense half the time.
No, it's like these people have never watched a game of hockey but are so confident in what they're saying. I know exactly what you're saying, Jack. It's very, very frustrating to see on Twitter. And it's hard to bite your tongue and not even respond. It's like bait.
Yeah,
right?
Well, and it's bad when Russo does, because Russo started cooking some of them today because they were calling him a cuck, and one guy tweeted at him to kill himself, and I'm pretty sure that account got suspended immediately. So shout out to Twitter on that one. But
I saw someone on Dallas, they tweeted, and again, I know all fan bases have their horrible fans and their good fans, but I saw someone on Dallas tweet, I hope Dumba and his whole entire family die in a car wreck,
so I can piss on their graves.
Really?
Yeah, you saw that too.
I saw that as well.
So it's so you didn't see fucking Suter cheap shot
Krill in the back
multiple times,
and he's limping off the ice. Oh no, but that's okay.
Not even cross check from behind, cross check to the back of the head.
To the ribs, to the kidney.
Very dangerous spots.
He's doing it in he's doing it in high injury prone spots on the body. It's scary.
A lot of times I don't agree with a lot of the Barstool blogs, but their main account today tweeted out a blog that said if you think that Matt Dumba should be suspended or deserved a 5-minute major for that hit, you should not watch playoff hockey.
I know,
and I agree with that. So that's a playoff hockey.
It's
textbook.
a hit.
Yeah,
playoff hockey hit. It gets violent. It gets dirty.
And guess if this was 2004, there'd be no question that's a penalty. No one would be saying anything. That's a normal part of the play.
I know.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now you have the younger generations of Texans growing up that have no idea what hockey is. They probably think half of those people thought they were watching they were going into to watch a Dallas Cowboys game or something, even in April.
There's a star out there.
Is this football?
This whole time I can't unsee the kid with the mullet.
Yeah, that's all you can see.
Every time I see one of those idiots tweet at anybody, I just think it's just 100 of those kids.
Yeah, you got.
That's their entire fan base.
I got a meme idea for you that you should fire up if the Wild win the series. You gotta essentially put the Dallas Stars logo over the kid's face, put the Wild logo over the face of the person punching him.
Yep.
And,
Absolutely.
Easy.
We'll cue that one up in the drafts. But
I just love how we got a comment from someone. It was obviously a Dallas fan that just said "luck win" or something. Luck win.
I'm not gonna lie.
Didn't say lucky.
In overtime, it's definitely better to be
There's
lucky and good in overtime, man.
But sometimes you get those bounces because you're being the grittier team, winning races to the puck. That's ultimately why we got that goal. So
yeah, they didn't include the Y on lucky because they didn't quite get there in learning the alphabet.
No,
they didn't. They only got to T for Texas, and then they stopped.
Yeehaw!
Don't even throw the letter X at them. They'll think that's some prehistoric symbol.
Yeah.
We're being mean to Dallas.
That's some satanic shit.
That's fine.
What kind of letter is that?
Just like the players on the ice, we hate them. And, after the series, we'll shake hands and we'll move on. That's the way it's playoff hockey for both the fans and the players.
It's true. I remember when we played them a few years back. Was it 2016?
2016.
Yeah, when we played them in 2016. I hated them.
I know,
hated
right?
their fan base.
I know. Back then, because Jamie Benn and all that. Dude, Jamie Benn was being kind of a prick, too.
I hate seeing him on the ice.
Dude,
he's so big.
He's such a prick.
He's so big.
Although I tweeted it last night, he is deathly afraid of Ryan Reeves.
Yeah, I agree.
And you can tell.
Mm-hmm.
It is so nice. And, I mean, we always had Foligno, too, and I think him and Foligno probably could go toe-to-toe. But I think Reeves would kick his ass.
Yeah.
And you could tell, like, Ben was skating away from him kind of with his tail tucked between his legs a few times. You could tell
I know.
that Revo had the fear on Jamie Benn. So
you need that presence.
And I love
nice.
it because Jamie, they really rely on Ben to actually get the puck in the net a lot early for him to
he's-
put up some points.
He's a skilled player.
We
for
can
how
just
big he
throw,
is, too.
we can just throw Revo up there and take him out of the game. It's very nice. Revo got a lot of game time in the playoff game for a fourth liner.
Well, dude, and I was telling Jake last night, look at Reeves the last 2 years. Who did he play for last year? The Rangers. They make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. Who did he play for the year before? Vegas, or 2 years ago, whatever. Vegas. They were in the Western Conference Final.
I love how
Vegas.
people are bringing up that video when we were playing Reeves when he played for Vegas, and he just fucking cross-checks Suter face first right into the post. I hated it at the time, but now it's just lovely watching it.
It's one of those things where back then it was like Reeves is the worst guy on earth, and who knew 3 years later you'd be like, repeat that.
Switching roles.
Go do that again.
Yes, I'm sure the day that shit happened, we were all out there tweeting like, fuck Reeves, he's
Yeah,
the
I know.
worst.
Fuck Ryan
Although-
Reeves. He's a piece of shit.
Out of all of the Ryan Suter hate, the best comment I saw by a country mile was some guy just say, fuck Ryan Suter and at fuck Quick Trip. Never spending my money there again. I'm pretty sure Ryan Suter hasn't done a Quick Trip ad since he left the team. So I love how, the social media admin from Quick Trip just logged in today and just caught a ricochet.
Yeah,
that's
they're like,
hilarious.
oh no, guys, this we should have never have signed Ryan Suter onto the sponsorship deal. It's coming back to bite us.
Do you guys
right now.
remember the commercials? It was just him with a monotone.
Yeah.
Hey, it's Ryan Suter.
Suter?
Oh
Come
my
to Quick
God.
Trip. Get your 2-for-1 chicken sandwiches and glazed donuts.
Yay.
Yay. Well, you take your kids to hockey practice.
Well,
This
you
is the
take
Quick
your
Trip dad.
kids to hockey practice, have a few cocktails, and then scold them after for not being as good as you.
Yep.
Make sure to stop at Quick Trip and get a large-sized bag of Doritos for $2.99.
Cheap shot the opponents that you think will actually make you guys the best players on the other team because you think that they are better than you.
And you know too that Ryan Suter was just cross-checking the shit out of those Quick Trip rewards too.
Oh yeah, he was getting free rewards.
The king of the Quick Trip. All right, moving right along. Journalist Jake, what's your bit?
Well, kind of speaking of like the violent aspect of hockey and fighting, I have the Seabass bit. I don't know if I've ever actually done this bit. I'm surprised I've never done this bit, but it's kind of a notorious bit. It of course comes from Dumb and Dumber, which is half of my mind, or half of my thoughts are that movie.
Kick his ass, Seabass.
Exactly. So there's the notorious scene in the movie which that character actually played hockey. I forgot his real name, but he actually played in the pros in the NHL.
That's
yeah,
crazy.
That Seabass character in Dumb and Dumber. I forgot what his name was, but he was known as kind of a grinder and fighter kind of guy. Someone should look it up.
I'm
actually,
doing it.
I forgot what his name was, but he was a grinder in the NHL. But he made a cameo in Dumb and Dumber. It was the diner scene where they throw the salt shaker at him and they get pissed, and his buddies or Seabass comes over there. Cam Neely. Yeah, isn't that
Hall of Famer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's him. Yeah, he was a fucking kind of a fighter guy in the chill. But yeah, he made an appearance in that movie. He comes over to Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels' characters in the movie, and all of his buddies are like, "Kick his ass, Seabass!" Ends up spitting on their burger instead.
Fun fact
Yeah.
about Cam Neely as well. He's the current president of the Boston Bruins.
Really?
Yep.
Oh shit! Yeah. See, I forgot his name, but that's just that's a very familiar player. But
Yeah.
look up highlights, folks. But anyway, anytime there's a fight though, or like I've done this for years, or there's a fight on the ice, specifically hockey, or like anywhere, or there's a violent activity, you just yell, "Kick his ass, Seabass!" And I've heard other people yell it. It's a reference back to that movie, but it's a reference also to this grinder of a hockey player in Cam Neely. So I fucking love it. There's kind of like a partial like other bit with this, and I've done this many times, where in the movie, like you can't see me right now if you're listening to this, but like in the movie, like they try to scam him, where they go up to apologize to him, saying, "We're going to buy you a round of beers to bury the hatchet." They end up going up, that's Jim Carrey or Lloyd in the movie. Then they go up to the counter at the diner. They point over at Seabass and like, Seabass was kind enough to pick up her tab. And they're like, "Seabass said that, really?" After they just said they were going to pay for beers for him. And they look back and he's pointing at his Seabass is pointing at him to learn that I'm Seabass, and every time I'm trying to like find somebody in a crowd, I'm always like, doing the whole Larry too.
Larry.
That could factor in as well. That could be a whole other bit. But I think the kick his ass Seabass whenever there's a fight, or if you're trying to get someone's attention in a crowded room or a crowd, you lift your hand up and you aggressively point down because it's a Seabass bit. So
I love how Bubba turned that into like the let's get down to business thing at Vegas.
Oh yeah, just
the pointing finger
pointing
down.
finger down.
Stick your hand straight out and just point down. That's all you move. Wrist. That's his workout. So the Seabass bit. Cam Neely though, he made that. If you've seen that movie and you didn't know that, that guy is Cam Neely.
Yeah.
Former NHLer, grinder.
Dude has worn a lot of hats between being an actor, playing in the NHL, and now being the president of the President's Cup winning team, the Boston Bruins. So it's kind of wild. But
and being the founder of the Seabass bit.
Yep. And hopefully we get to yell, kick his ass Seabass tomorrow night when Ryan Reeves squares up with Ryan Suter.
Yep, exactly.
The battle of the Ryans.
Yep.
I love to. I think about Ryan Suter fighting, and I think of that video of the really old guy with the boxing gloves, like barely touching the punching bag, and his wife is standing behind him with like her hands on his love handles. It's super weird, but anything with Ryan Suter, all the old memes just play. But I'll take us home here. A little gambling bit I have is the invisible run line puck line bit. I just believe it doesn't exist. I believe that betting a team to win by 1.5 does not exist, and it's a dumb play. And it blows my mind because if you're a gambler out there, you know that a team could be favored like minus 140 to win a game, but the minute you bet on them to win the game by more than one run or more than one goal, the odds juice up to like plus 150, which blows my mind that much value separates a goal or like a run in baseball, and it feels like such an obvious play. For example, when you bet the Oilers to beat the depleted Kings by more than 1.5 on Monday night, and they fucking lose in overtime. How does that happen?
I know.
It is.
That was such Oilers.
People say that parlays are a sucker's play. I'm starting to think the fucking run line and the puck line are sucker's play.
I would just say betting on the Oilers in the fucking playoffs is a
Playoffs?
sucker.
Yeah,
that was.
dude. Yeah.
I had that bet as well, and
You
I
know-
was thinking about that. I'm like, oh shit.
And for the Stars fans who are upset about their loss last night, that's tough, but I don't think anyone's loss was as worse as the Oilers. First game at home, McDavid, Draisaitl are having career seasons. And, you have the first game at home. It was buzzing in there. They're up 3-1 with, 6 minutes left? And you lose that game?
They gave up a goal with 19 seconds left to tie it, and
Anze
then they score in overtime with a high stick, and they wave it off, and the Kings end up scoring.
Yeah,
man. It was
yeah, because
hilarious.
Evander Kane went to the box, and the Kings were on the power play, and they pulled their goalie too, so it's 6-on-4, and they score with
19 seconds left, something like that.
Insane.
They
Absolutely
play-
insane. No Kevin Fiala, can't remember the other guy's name, who's another key goal scorer on their team that was out.
Oh, wait, by the way, Minnesota Wild won the trade because our player that we received in that trade is playing in the playoffs.
Blocked Faber.
Yep.
Actually, that was a great game-saving play by Mr.
I know.
Faber.
Well,
and also, sorry, we didn't talk about Gus Bus. How great is Gus
I know.
Bus?
Yeah.
Gus Bus, he's okay.
Fantastic.
He's fantastic. He's okay. No.
51 saves.
Unreal.
The Swede had.
Look.
So sick.
Looks so calm and cordial out there.
Yeah, dude, I saw him. He filled out like some player survey that they posted on social media for like where they showed like his favorite food and like his favorite athlete. His favorite athlete was some esports guy.
Really?
Nice. Yeah,
like
he's a big gamer.
No,
Yeah.
dude, it was someone I've never heard
Really?
of though. Is obviously his favorite artist, Avicii.
Yep.
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 You have to. What a stellar man.
Yep.
Gus Bus.
He's also a big Frolf guy. That's
Well,
what Russo
AKA
said.
Stoner.
I told Russo if he's ever looking for some Frolf guys, he can play with us because Frolf's a good time.
We gotta get Gus to sit on here.
I know. That'd be
Yep.
great.
That's the goal.
He just seems like such a goalie. Yeah, esports guy, Frolf guy, Avicii, EDM stuff.
We'll go there this summer to visit him, right?
Yeah,
Do
we
the
will.
pod
Oh,
there.
yes. Minneswede. We'll
Yep.
do the Minneswede pod.
We'll spend $10,000 to go to Sweden and just record one podcast.
Like,
Yep.
it's 400 views.
It'll be fine.
The clips will get like 21 likes on
Yep.
Twitter.
Dude,
Yeah,
fuck
with
yeah.
Gus
Fucking-
Wilson.
that's-
Fuck yeah.
that's a good
all
clip,
in,
worth it.
all in on the pod. Okay, yeah. So run line, puck line doesn't exist. My final one too is the first ejection bit. Rocco Baldelli, I think on Saturday against the Yankees, got ejected for the first time of the year, and that was actually bullshit. Round of applause for Rocco. the passion.
Channeling his Ron Gardenhire.
I was gonna say, yeah, trying to beat. He's chasing Ron's record of ejections. What was it again?
Jake, do you remember? Because they inducted him into the Twins Hall of Fame in a game we were
it was
at.
like 120 or something.
Gardenhire,
something like that.
Ejaculations.
Well over 100.
Ejaculations.
Kicking his hat.
Yeah, just a couple letters off there. But the other thing too, but that was actually bullshit. I don't know if you guys saw. So the pitcher for the Yankees, I think it was Garrett Cole that day, had sticky substance.
It wasn't Cole.
Or no, because so this was a different game. Maybe this was Friday's game. But yeah, he definitely you could see he had fingers in his glove, like the sticky substance that got banned last year. And the ump stopped the game, and they looked in his glove and said, "We found something." And then they talked about it for a while, and they let him keep pitching. And so Rocco went out there and just had a fit, which after that happens, the umps just clearly rig it for a bigger market team. If Rocco didn't get ejected, I think the fans would hate him. So
yeah, well, I think Rocco's quote was I didn't leave the dugout there to not get ejected. He literally, that was his quote, along
and for
those
good
lines.
reason.
Good for him.
That was horseshit.
Rightfully so. I mean,
well, so I watched John Boy did a breakdown of it. You guys know who John Boy is?
Oh yeah.
He's a really famous YouTuber. But pretty much, he was putting on rosin in the dugout instead of using the rosin bag out there. So that was on his hand.
Oh.
And the reason the pitchers caught it or the umpires caught it in the first place is because he has stuff on his hand, but he's not touching the rosin bag. So what happened is he walked back out, and they're like, "You got to wash your hands." And so okay. So then the Twins bat, and he comes back out, and he washed his hands. But after washing his hands, he put more rosin on because he's like, "Oh, I washed my hands. I'm good to go. I'm gonna put the rosin back on." And that's why they yelled at him.
Right.
Took a piss while he was washing his hands too. It was a couple minutes there that we didn't get to watch.
It was, but again, they told him to wash it off, and he comes back out the next inning with the same shit on his hand. He should not be allowed.
Yeah,
to pitch.
it's no, you don't get the point. You don't do it in there. You do it with the rosin bag on the mound.
There's a reason they put it out there.
Yeah,
right. So it's transparent. We can see what you're putting on your hand.
Bro, how long have you been playing baseball? This is the way it works.
Yeah. That's annoying. Any other team probably if that happened to the Twins, they would have threw the pitcher. They would have ejected the pitcher, or took him out of the game.
The pitcher too. I'm not sure if you guys remember, he was dealing. I think he was perfect through his first 9 batters. He had a perfect game going. So
yeah, the Yankees really turned it around from giving up 11 in the first.
Yeah, that's sketchy shit. That's some Yankee shit though, man.
Yep, they're always
annoying.
They're Mickey Mouse field. All right, let's take a really quick commercial break, and we'll move on to our interview with DJ Skee.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is playoffs time, and what better time of the year to start getting into sports betting, especially right here in Minnesota. I know it can be kind of hard to sports bet, but here at 10K, we got a solution to that, and that solution is Bettor's Edge. Bettor's Edge is a legal online sports betting marketplace that allows you to post and engage with other sports betting fans, place no commission positions in an online marketplace, compete in direct head-to-head challenges with horrible bettors such as myself, JJ, Bossman, producer Cam, buy or sell positions such as spread, over, under, money line, all at current market price. All you got to do is use promo code 10K at bettoredge.com to get a free $20 when you sign up and verify your ID. Once again, that is 10K at bettoredge.com to get a free $20. Win some money. Bet on the Wild today.
All right, folks, welcome back to It's a Bit. We're joined by a very special first-time guest. We have world-renowned DJ and the DJ for the Minnesota Vikings, DJ Skee. He's rocking the Twins jersey all the way out in L.A. We're watching the Twins-Red Sox game, but DJ Skee, we're happy to have you.
Happy to be here, man. Excited. Always down to talk Minnesota sports.
Yeah, we love it. I know we had originally wanted to book you earlier in the year, but were you on a correct me if I'm wrong, but you were on a tour, or maybe you still are on a tour with Snoop Dogg?
I've been on the. Oh yeah, that's right. We were doing the end of the year thing. Yeah, we launched a program with him. So yeah, I was on a few of those dates, and then it's been a crazy year. I've been home. I think I was looking at it since February 1st. I've been home for 2 weeks straight. Every other week has been on the road, so it's been a little crazy right now.
Yeah. What was? I mean, have you known Snoop?
Sorry,
have you known Snoop for a while, or is this kind of the first time you worked with them, or what's going on with that?
Yeah, no, I've known Snoop for 15, 16 years now.
Oh,
gosh. Damn, that's a long time to know him, yeah.
Yeah, so now he's awesome, right? Icon in the field, the best, probably the most. I think he's the most recognized face globally, as a celebrity. It's kind of wild, and you see him all over the place. He's the one person that, you could mention a lot of other artists to your grandparents, right? And they might not know them. You could even say Jay-Z, Beyonce, they might not know. Everybody's gonna know Snoop Dogg, right?
Yeah,
and
100%.
love him. So.
Yeah, and it's crazy to think too that Snoop has called UFC fight or boxing matches. He's been on broadcast for football games
and hockey too. I
yeah,
think.
he's done hockey.
Yeah.
So it's like
L.A.
The amount that guy has stretched his career is just incredible.
It's awesome. He loved it. I got him to do a Vikings drop for us once too. So
That's sweet.
I think I got it for when we played the Minneapolis Miracle game. I had Snoop do a drop we played during that game, then he played right before it. So shout to Dog.
We might need you to repeat that because if that could have been the difference. We're very superstitious.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So
now that I think about it, I was trying to remember when I did it. I was like, yeah, it was the Miracle game because I filmed some content with him before it. I think we aired it in one of the breaks and timeouts.
I was gonna say, we need Snoop here for every game stat.
Yep.
We need a game like that.
Trying
we need
to get
miracles.
him out. Trying to get him out. We'll get him out for one.
We gotta get Kirk Cousins and Snoop Dogg in a room.
Oh my
the same
gosh.
room and have them have a conversation. That'd be
Got it.
hilarious.
You know, I saw him talking at the Pro Bowl this year.
Oh, him and Snoop.
They were on TV talking.
Oh, nice.
So they're aware of each other.
They're friendly. I like that. I feel like they could definitely get along.
Snoop's into it. He knows. He watches sports. He's serious.
Yeah.
You know.
are there any? So you know Snoop Dogg for obviously like a decade and a half. Are there any stories or memories that stick out? Obviously, there's probably a ton, but
so many. I mean, one of the best was when we were shooting a video for what's the song for Sensual Seduction, aka Sexual Eruption, depending on if you're the clean or the edit version. It's all stuff like a pimp. We were interviewing him. We were doing something in his trailer, and he was smoking his weed but trying to hold it down. On camera, weed still wasn't legal then. We were doing an interview, and one of the dogs, there's a dog running around, and the dog, all of a sudden, we heard a bark. The dog ran into the blunt, and Snoop looked on camera. You see the funniest look. He's like, "Oh shit! Like, did you get that on camera?" Because the dog burned itself on the end of the roach, and the dog's like, "Yo, mom's gonna kill me," and like wipes it off real quick and stuff. Just the funniest thing ever. The dog's fine. There's no issues. It wasn't intentional. I was sitting there. The dog ran into it, but just one of the funniest stories. And the look on his face was, on the camera was like, "Oh shit!" It was hilarious. So there's many more, but that's always a great one, especially with him in full like old school like 70s pimp attire.
Yeah, right.
The whole music.
I was gonna say I gotta think most people's best stories of Snoop probably involve weed.
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
some
exactly.
way, just kind of his brand. But no, that's incredible.
I feel like I'm assuming like the joint was probably just packing. I feel like every time he's just that's the term.
That's
I
what all the
think.
kids are saying
That's what the
these
kids
days.
say.
Cam.
It's packing.
They're packing it.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen the video of, I think Snoop he's smoking a J and he's like passing it around a circle and there's a security guard to his right and he passes it and the security guard grabs it and he looks around. He's like, "It's Snoop Dogg. I got to do it." And he just rips it. Have you guys seen that video? That's so funny.
That's everybody's goal, right? Is just like just smoke with Snoop. That's what everybody I run into. They're like, "I just want to smoke with him. I just want to smoke with him." That's like a lot of just goals in life. It's like one of those bucket list items.
Right.
It's on every stoner's bucket list.
It is.
for
I mean,
sure.
maybe everyone's bucket list.
I was gonna
People
say
who aren't
I
stoners
think,
or never
I
smoke
think it'd be
weed.
incredibly rude
Yeah,
to say
I've
no.
never smoked weed, and if I was going to, that might be the first like
Yeah.
still on my bucket list. Hasn't happened, so.
Yeah, if you need a guy, you know one. You know an expert. But I was gonna say, I think for anybody, like you say, people who even don't smoke, like if they were offered to take a puff with Snoop, they might just do it.
Yeah, you have to say yes.
Don't say no to drugs. Say yes when it's Snoop Dogg offers.
Maybe not the best.
No,
way.
don't-
No. We're just talking weed here, folks. Okay.
And only with Snoop Dogg,
Yeah.
of course.
Yes,
It's okay.
It's the exception.
It's totally fine.
Hey, how did you become a DJ? Was this something you grew up dreaming, or did you just fall into it? What happened?
I went to St. Paul Central High School and was fortunate enough there was a recording program there. So I took the engineering track when I was, I think it's would have been in 9th, 10th grade, and like fell in love with just that. But wanted to do a little more. So I'd always like sequence music. So I had like a CD changer as a kid, right? Would like automatic like figure out ways to play and what order to play it, and always loved like even going to sports games. Like my favorite parts were the intros. I mean, the most iconic intro, I always still reference the Michael Jordan, Alan Parsons intro, right? So like watching that on TV all over the years was incredible. And so I ended up like getting a turn. I decided that, I wanted to get into DJing. So I bought a turntable from Best Buy, a really cheap one that broke the first night I got it. Took one of my dad's record players, not even a turntable, right? And like just started and actually took an old school, not like a DJ mixer, just a regular like 6-channel mixer, and we plugged it in and started messing around and just fell in love with it. Knew that's what I was gonna do, and like went all in and dedicated my energy to it. Started doing mixtapes and my high school and worked my way up. Was selling it at stores like Urban Lights Music, and then all the local stores from Cheapo on down, and ended up on radio when I was, I think, 15 or 16 out there. And yeah, that was the start of my career.
So you're saying DJ Hero had nothing to do with influencing you to become a DJ, the game DJ Hero.
DJ Hero was after I made it. I remember actually helping consult for the building of that game a little. So
nice.
Yeah.
Was a project manager of it. So
oh, sweet.
That was one of those games that I always wanted that I never ended up getting. But did they end up making multiple, or was it just the one?
They just made one. They didn't turn into a franchise. I thought they should have, but yeah, it was, it had a good run. It was a cool product, and right. It was a little after Guitar Hero, so I think people were starting to get burned out on it, but still a really cool, fun game.
Yeah, this is a really casual question, but I'm gonna throw it out there. Do you make music? I think it's FL Studio, right? Is that one of the programs you can use? No,
you can. I never used it. I grew up like we learned. It was funny because in Central they taught us Pro Tools, so I learned Pro Tools, and I'm a Pro Tools master, right? Like quick keys. People jump in the studio even now, even though I'm not like producing and creating shows like I used to. I still hop in the studio. It's like riding a bike, right? I just jump in and can fly around and edit and cut up as good as anybody in Pro Tools. So, but yeah, really that, and then a little bit of Logic, and then DJing Serato. So.
Okay, I know Logic. That one, that one's been around. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Logic so Pro Tools isn't that like an advanced version of Logic, or I could be wrong.
Yeah, it depends on what it is. Like Pro Tools, like Logic is better for creating. I think Pro Tools is better for editing and piecing together stuff. But Logic has a little more friendliness to actually making and just plug and play, especially back in the day when I was using it. Because Pro Tools still required like bigger, higher hardware interfaces, where on the road I could just load in and do things with Logic. So,
yeah, cool.
That's sweet. Well, what's some of your? I mean, over your career though, I mean, what is some of your favorite music or genres that you like to mix and mess with and just kind of see what you can make out of it?
Man, I love everything. I'm fortunate. I've always been into multiple genres of music, right? And while like hip hop is the foundation for my career, I started off on mixtapes and worked in that world. I got to see everything, right? Like got to open the biggest clubs in Vegas, like Excess on the dance side. Got to tour with Prince for one of his tours. Got to tour with Chris Cornell on the rock side, RIP to Chris and to Prince, right? And obviously it was on pop radio and have interviewed all the biggest pop stars in the world, from Lady Gaga's first interview to J-Lo to Rihanna to you name it. So it really walked like a line across multiple genres, which is not common in the DJ side. But if you look at me, I've never been really in one lane on anything. Even my DJ career started off in mixtapes. I had a little radio foundation, expanded to clubs, went back to radio, expanded there from like TV and content. So you never really, most DJs would like kind of stay in one lane. I was always kind of jumping between multiple ones at the same time. I'd be DJing Vegas, dropping a mixtape, being radio, filming TV like at the same time. So I've had kind of a unique kind of career arc from that, and just been fortunate enough to I like doing a lot, and to be able to do all those has been phenomenal.
Did you ever have like a big break in your career, but that like really started it? You're just you're a kid from St. Paul, right? So I'm just wondering how you went from that to where you are today.
100%. When I was in St. Paul, I was I got connected with this guy Stretch Armstrong, who's one of the biggest DJs in hip hop and music history, and was kind of interning for him and helping him out with some stuff. He happened to be meeting with Steve Rifkin, who was the CEO of Loud and Sony Records at the time. The way I made my money, I was always entrepreneurial. So in high school, all my friends worked at Best Buy or Target or wherever. I'd slide them $20 to tell me when the new shipments of PS2s and Xboxes were coming in, and go buy them and sell them for double money on eBay. That was my
hell
job.
yeah.
Love it.
Guys doing
So
business.
hustling those. So Steve happened to be, or so Stretch was meeting with Steve one day, and right before Christmas, he's like, oh, he actually two-wayed me. I remember I was in high school and I got a pager message, right? Like this is before cell phones, stuff like that, right? So dating myself. But he sent me a two-way text and was like, hey, Steve Ripken needs a PS2 for his son for Christmas. Can you hook him up? And I was like, yeah, of course. So hooked him up, stayed in contact with him. I was also then at the time like importing and selling shoes. There's actually a shoe shop in North Minneapolis, Freedman's, that had one of the OG Nike accounts because they started selling them when it was Blue Ribbon Sports. So they got like the craziest colorways and stuff of like the rarest Air Force One. So I was selling a lot of people in the music industry shoes that I was getting from there, right? So just stayed close with Steve, was hooking him up with shoes. And a few months later, decided to send him kind of a list on and a bunch of ideas on what I had for his labels and kind of what he was doing wrong. He loved it so much. He said, after I sent it, he told me to come meet with him. So I ditched high school. I was 16, flew to New York, met with him, and he offered me a job on the spot. So I came back to Minnesota. I figured a way to graduate high school early, and then did it, and packed the U-Haul, drove across the country when I was 17, and fortunate enough, it ended up working out for me.
That's incredible
Amazing,
story.
yeah.
I guess when you started with the Vikings, did it kind of come full circle because you obviously grew up around here, probably were a lifelong Vikings fan, and then you get to do what you love as a job, but you get to do it for your favorite team and contribute to the energy.
100%. The Vikings are awesome. I mean, first off, it boils down to having a great organization and a great team. As I've done a lot of work in the pro sports world, right? Like I always undervalued the value of ownership from the exterior fan perspective. Always see is like what players they're buying and selling, but so much matters in culture from organizations, from the facilities to the way that like the leadership and internal business sides are. Don't forget, there's 150 employees, maybe even more on the Viking side, right? There's 50 players. So like there's more people working on the business side than are on the team side. And that feeling of what happens inside the office like carries down through the organization. And that tone you set really is there. So kudos to them for having like such incredible ownership. And we saw it with the rankings that came out this year as the Vikings being the best and literally number one NFL team to play for. So the team out there reached out, my guy Brian Harper from the Vikings Entertainment Network, who reached out and asked when they opened US Bank Stadium, it was a Sunday night game against the Packers, if I wanted to DJ. And I was like, yeah, of course, I'll be there already. So like, why not? And instead of just like, all right, let me make it a regular opportunity, I was like, let's turn it up. Let's treat it like a festival. Let's get fans there early. Let's have some fun. Let's get the players involved and get them playing stuff. And, long story short, after that, they loved it so much that they, I haven't left. They've invited me back every week since then. And we started doing much more with the organization, from strategizing on, content to, helping him bring in different artists, different performances. You might have seen Ludacris, T-Pain, a bunch of others this year that he helped bring in, and I used my connections and things to help do that, as well as just like interfacing and helping with the players and connect with them on a different level, right? Like it's different from me talking to them, and just as a fan, it's been awesome. But yeah, it's like it's a dream come true. Yeah, I'm a kid that was never. I've never been as hurt in my life as I have after Gary Anderson missed that 98, right? So like, and all I want is one. I just want to win one. And I told them like the only thing I want is like when we win, like I need a ring. So that's my
yes,
goal. Gotta do it while we're there.
Mm-hmm.
That's more important than anything.
I was gonna say you might be like one of the only people who can pull off that request.
Yeah,
because I feel like there's got to be a ton of Vikings employees who are like, okay,
I want a ring.
It's like, buddy, you're selling hot dogs. Like you're not gonna get it. Those are a very expensive item. But really quick follow up question. Of course, I'm gonna compare a professional sports organization to my Sunday night beginner league, beer league, hockey league. But does everyone on the team get to request a song for warm ups? Is it kind of a compilation?
Yeah, they have a list they'll go through, and they'll talk with their with the PR team and put in any requests if they have them. A lot of times I'll either see the guys in the hotel the night before because we stay in the same hotel, or I'll just DM them like, hey, what do you want to hear? And they'll let me know. And as you get to know them too, you kind of know what they're into. That Justin wants to hear, or Young Boy or Lil Baby, and Turn Up, and figure what he's going to get hyped for. And others you'll get requests in from that. But yeah, like for me, my job is to play what's going to excite them. And when we started, I don't think there was any. I could be wrong. I don't think there was any other team in the NFL that had a DJ. And now it's become commonplace. But when I first came on, I was like, all right, who am I really playing for? Am I playing for the audience? Am I playing for the players? Like, what's that mix? Because there's a distinct difference, right? So for me, when I come out, like when I'll generally come out right before most of the players. They've gone in after stretching. They're coming out now with uniforms on. There's like a little window where just special teams are out. So I'll try to play a little more open format for the crowd and the fans there, and mix in a little more genres. But then once the players get out, like we've realized that it's about them. We need to motivate them. We're never going to win the game, but if we can excite them and energize them an extra 1% that makes Stephon jump an extra inch at the end of the game in the playoffs to lift up and make a miracle catch, like, not that it's any credit, but like that's where we want to be. So we're playing for the players, and also the crowd for the most part will jive off of the players' energy. So if they're dancing around, singing, they'll be, even if they don't know the music, it's reacting to them. So I really, I believe that the correct way is really like, not ignoring the crowd, right? But like really playing for the players. That's the target audience, and that's who we're all there to see, and that's who matters most. So we want to give them the best atmosphere and the best energy that they can going into battle and war for that. And that's kind of how we frame it, and what's worked out really well. And then when I'll do different breaks, depending on where fans are, like it's about mixing the balance, right? Because a lot of the requests of the young, like, look, it's young players that want to hear hip hop and NBA Young Boy, who a lot of like fans have never even heard of NBA Young Boy, even though he's now like the number 2 most streamed artist in the world, which is insane. But like, so it's always like covering that balance and base, and you can never make everybody happy, right? Even on the team, like there's different genres, there's 55 players and personalities and things, but you do your best to try to get the ultimate results. For me, I care about winning, so I want our guys amped up.
Well,
go ahead.
I was going to say, just speaking of requests, I can't visualize again. I forget where your booth is in the stadium, so this might not even be possible. But if it is, I wonder if you ever been drunkenly requested by drunk people to play certain songs and stuff, or like are they yelling at you, hey, play this song, play this?
Of course. I mean, that happens anywhere, right? But
Yeah.
especially in the stadium, and when you have, again, 70,000 people, and in many opinions, and everybody's opinion is they want to hear what's there. And there's so many different demographics, right? And that's why, like, for me, like I stay true to myself and try to keep the place energized. There's no way to make everybody happy. There's always going to be people that complain. But for me, it really boils down to the players and making them happy, right? Because that's, the crowd will feed off that energy, and we want them to be successful. That's why we are all there, right? Like if like whatever genre of music you hated, if I told you, hey, we're going to win if we play this, like I would say play it all day. I know, I like,
Absolutely.
great. It's music to my ears. So that's how I approach it. Like, again, it's not going to make or break the difference in the game, but if it adds a little, like that extra 1% that can be the difference there, like, let's do it.
I'm just waiting for the day on like a Vikings fan line where people are bitching about the team and performance, and someone goes on there, yeah, the damn DJ was playing some shit songs or something like that.
Skee gets a ricochet shot
Just
because they're mad at the team.
Exactly.
Yeah,
course.
I blame the DJ for not giving them the right energy to win the game. Okay, I'm surprised that hasn't happened yet.
We got to be on point. Like,
Yeah.
look, there's been times that are out there where you don't give it your best, and then there's others where you give it great. Like, I actually thought one of the best sets ever that I really put together was the last one when we played New York in the playoffs, right? Unfortunately, the game just didn't turn out, but pregame, like, the guys were locked in.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was
granted, like, defense, there was just play calling issues, I think, that, didn't work out. But, like, that was a great set, and we still didn't win. And to me, that was one of the best sets that I had when I was there. I really went in and, like, it was like, you know how it is. Like, you'll save certain songs for certain moments, and that was like one of those big games. It was probably our only home playoff game, I thought. So we really turned it up. I talked to a lot of the guys. They were having fun and amped in. It just, only so much you can do.
Now, JJ and I were actually at that Giants playoff game, and yeah, I can confirm the music was electric beforehand. So great job.
And during the game too. It was bumping.
Yeah,
It was bumping.
100% was. The whole atmosphere, that whole game was great until the end, obviously. But I guess my question is, are you more nervous to do the Vikings game since you have a little bit less in your control than a standard gig for yourself, or are you more nervous for a standard gig?
Not really. I mean, I'm used to it now, and I've been doing it since 2016, so it kind of becomes like normal. It's, sometimes it's all in a strange way. It's easier with these bigger venues, right? Because it's so big and vast. It's when you're doing smaller ones, right, that can be sometimes a little more challenging because there's only, if you're doing like a private event for 20, 30 people, that's actually more nerve wracking sometimes than 70,000 people because you instantly see the reaction. 70,000, some are going to hate it, some are going to love it. Like you just kind of take it for what that is. And it's impossible to make everybody happy. But when it's 30, 20 or 30, you're like, all right, I better be making them happy. And it's very clear if you're not. So I think sometimes the pressure is the other way. The bigger it is, strangely, sometimes the easier.
I think everyone's wondering it, and I'm going to ask it. Do you ever get song requests from Kirk Cousins? Because you mentioned how JJ's into Lil Baby and whatever, but I've always wondered what kind of music Kirk is into. Have you ever reached out to him about music requests?
Yeah, I talked to Kirk about it at one of the parties after we did a Halloween party for them, and he loves it. He doesn't have any requests. He says to amp up the players. We have one specific song that actually one of his friends wrote, produced, and sings on that I play every time he walks out. It's really cool. I added some sound effects of just highlights of Paul Allen calling plays and some of the highlights of his career, like Cousins to Thielen for whatever that we play like in between like some of the dry spots in the song. So other than that though, and I talked to him. He doesn't, I think he's a team player. He wants to see the guys amped up. When I asked him about it too, he's like, you know what? I never even hear anything, right? Like he's so locked,
so toned out.
He's like, I don't hear anything. That's what he told me. So I was like, that's the perfect Kirk answer. But he's locked in there, so he's not paying attention to music.
I love hearing that answer. He's locked in. People would like that hate Kirk. Like, yeah, see, he doesn't even like music. Fuck him.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, okay,
of course he can't get a break. Poor Kirk. I mean, exactly. I think we're lucky to have him right now. Look at the stats and look at what he's done, and we have stability at that position, which is not easy to have in the modern NFL.
No.
Well, what are your expectations for the team next year? Are you gearing up maybe a new playlist like for next year and maybe
we gotta see. I mean, I'm kind of sad, right? Like I get it, but like a couple of my good friends are gone, right? Like when I joined in 2016, I think the only guy still on the squad now is Harry, right? Like everybody else,
pretty much.
Like Jet's gone, Adrian's gone, Eric's gone now, Barr is gone. Like a lot of my boys, Anthony or Adam's gone now. Like it's just wild to see. It's a new organization. Like seeing Eric and seeing Adam, who are both, friends and great people. Eric actually lives about a mile away from me. He lives right. We're neighbors here in LA. It sucks, but I want them to succeed. Totally understand. Like, look, it's a business. I think they all get it. But it's a new regime, and it's so weird. Like football, the turnover is so high. It feels like just yesterday I walked in the stadium for the first time, and now I've outlasted, all except one player on that team being there. It's just a weird feeling and new energy, but I'm excited, right? Like you look at where we are on paper. We had we did our site meetings with the Vikings. A few of us get together in Vail every year and go through kind of ideas and plans for the season on the marketing and content side. In talking with them, like, look, you look on offense, right? Like we have Justin Jefferson, we have Kirk, everybody's so excited about Hotch, right? Like he's going to be great, especially if you start moving him out. KJ's great. We'll see if they get any other moves. Like our line for the first time, I think, going into a season, people aren't worried about as long as we stay healthy. Like Chris is, potentially be the best left tackle in the NFL. We got Brian O'Neill on the other end of that, and then Garrett's back. Like we're solid and have continuity there. Big question is defense, right? Like in last year, even if you looked at us on paper, like defense, you have Harry, you have Patrick Peterson, you had Eric Kendricks, you had Za'Darius, you had, Daniil. We should have been so much more. It was frustrating, as a fan, right? Like, and I have no input or say or thoughts on game operations, but like watching Daniil Hunter drop into coverage 15 times in a game, right? Like, or whatever those stats are, is just watching us, like even the New York Giants game, it's like, we can only, I forget the exact score, but we scored a lot and still didn't walk away winning, right? Like you can't give those things up. And I think like, I actually like, I think that, we had a great coach there. I just don't think that the scheme and the players fit. And sometimes when you try to put the scheme in with the wrong players, it can be the right scheme, but without the right personnel, it's not going to work. And you have to adapt to the players. It's more difficult trying to get the players to adapt to a very specific system that needs to be played. So I believe if we were playing a different system last year, the results could have been different. That being said, like I love the hires that we made in the offseason. Still so early. We'll see what happens with the draft and everything else. But again, on paper, like I feel really, really good about us. And if we're gonna score a ton of things. If we can just improve a little, like if you think about it, if we just improve a little bit on defense,
I know.
like that's a massive difference. So I'm excited. Every season it's so weird. I'm like, I don't know if we're gonna get the number 1 pick or win the Super Bowl, right? Like it could be either of those. And it's that's what I said last year. And I think it's the same for this year. On one hand, I'm like, all right, is it rebuild? It's a new era. It's kind of getting rid of those guys. Like Quessie's obviously there and kind of brought in his old new regime. But then we're making hires like Flores. Like he's not coming there to lose and to tank. We're not, signing those things. Otherwise, the strategy would be different. So, I think it's going to be a fun season.
Yeah, absolutely, too, with Flores coming in. I think that's the most exciting thing that's happened thus far.
Yeah.
Replacing the old can't cover the spread Donatel.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. But,
well, you got to think, the team was top 5 in offense last year, and literally, I think, second to dead last in defense, right? We just improved that defense a little bit. You're looking at some really good things potentially down the road.
If they were just like a 25th ranked defense, best defense, they probably would have beat New York at least. Like,
yeah.
The crazy fact that you go 13-4 with that defense. I think we saw a graphic. I think we've talked about this too, where the teams in like the last decade that finished where the Vikings finished defensively, they showed the records. It was like 6-10,
none of them even
5
made
and
the
11.
playoffs,
None of them even were even close. And we went then Vikings 13-4. It's
Yeah.
crazy. It just shows how good our offense was.
We've got like our offense back, so that's going to stay basically the same, right? Like we feel good there. And then on the other hand, like if defense just improves a little from being like the worst to being like the 5th worst, it's a big difference. And if we do better than that, then the sky is the limit, right? And like we'll see what happens. Remember, we had some injuries a scene. We'll see what that new scheme brings in and what personnel like we end up with. We don't even know who's there. There's been a lot of like little signings and random things. It'll be interesting to see what happens, especially with all the still offseason moves to make.
Yeah. Well, going back to your your sets and your live performances, is there any iconic things that you do during every single one of them? Kind of like how Steve Aoki throws a cake in the crowd. Is there anything crazy, whether it's with some sound effect you throw in there or anything that you've been doing for a while?
I always have like an intro, right, that has a lot of drops from artists that we've done. We try to create really cool video content. So if you get there early enough, you'll see like my intro video on the screen and stuff. It's pretty fun and cool. And just my sound effects. But yeah, for me, I mean, it's like really mixing different, worlds together in different genres. And, again, trying to have a good time while it's there. I always try to bring out some special guests in the booth. You've seen Timberwolves players up there. You've seen other rappers. Gable Stevenson is a good friend, so he'll always jump up there. So yeah, it's I think it's kind of that just having a fun element and always seeing some other guys in the mix too.
Where do you? I gotta ask, where do you draw the line on who is considered a DJ? So if I just connect my phone to the Bluetooth speaker at a party and I call myself a DJ, is that accurate?
I mean, why not? You're choosing music. Like, I don't take it that serious.
Yes.
Like, I don't try to take it that serious. Like, I'm not like trying to be purist and restrict people. I think the more people doing it, the better, right? Like, and you have to. People like got mad when Serato first came out, and I grew up playing regular records, and they're like, "Oh, it's not real. You have a computer." But I'm like, "Yeah, well, you have to evolve one, right? Like the tools have evolved, and now instead of me carrying, 10 crates of records, I can." You can send me a song and can play it instantly. So it gives you the freedom to do a lot more and to remix those things. So like, while I am kind of an old school purist at heart, like I think, the more people doing things is great. I'm not going to call anybody out for not being real or anything. It's like if I go out and throw a football around and stuff, am I a football player? Like, who cares, right?
Yeah.
It's all about having fun, whatever makes somebody happy. And if they're choosing music, that sounds like what a DJ is, right?
100%.
I'm a DJ.
You're like, I know the Spotify shuffle feature.
Yeah. I know what radio station we need to play. I know the deep hits.
Half of it too is not just like technical skill. There's been DJs that I know that are like the most advanced technically, but they can't rock a party or rock a crowd. It's all about like what that music selection is, what the sound is. So a lot of that's like equal parts. That's actually probably tougher now than actually even, the mixing, which is once you start, I mean, I guess I've been doing it a while. Like that's the easy part. The tougher part is like figuring out like, all right, what am I playing next?
100%. Hey, we were doing some research for this interview, and we saw it really pumped us up that you worked on Halo 4. Is that true?
Yeah.
And what did you do? We'd love to hear about this.
Yeah, we did the remixes. We put out they put out a remix album with music from the game, but remixed in a way that people could listen to it in a fun way. And it's funny, every day I get radio stations, random things still playing for it. So me and my boy THX took one of the tracks, we remixed it, put it on the soundtrack, and ended up in the game, and became one of the favorites on there. It's just like one of those epic battle songs of Halo. For me, I grew up. It's funny. So I talked to you about in high school. I'll never forget the day the first Xbox came out. It was, November 15th, because that was my birthday, and I ditched school to get it. And Halo was the game that came with it.
Yeah.
So I've literally been playing Halo since the day it came out. And, so to be able to work on a project like that is another, like, just, bucket list item that's really fun.
How did that come about? Like, did they randomly reach out to you? Did you reach out to them? I'd love to hear that.
Yeah, they reached out to me. I've had a great relationship with the Xbox team over the years. I've done several, multiple events with them. I did the launch of the Xbox, maybe it was with Xbox One, I think, myself and Deadmau5 here in LA. So have been in with that system, and they reached out when they were working on that project, and fortunate enough it came together.
Do you implement the just the general Halo theme, the original Halo theme, in any of your sets?
You know what? I haven't been recently. It's actually an idea. I was trying to think of a new song for an intro. I should use that. It's kind of dramatic and epic. I might use that. You guys might have given me a good idea.
It's also that shot of nostalgia for us who grew up playing the game, because, there's nothing like it, especially because I had the original Xbox as well growing up. I played a lot of Halo, Battlefront 2.
Big controller, right?
Big bulky controller that would, you have to plug it in. You have to plug the damn thing in. There's no Bluetooth.
Yeah.
You have to sit really close to the TV because there's a cord.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it's wired. Yep.
Yeah, the good old days.
No, that's the stuff that I think that really rivets people, or like brings back nostalgia. Because like Zane, remember we saw 21 Pilots in August, and they played the Halo song.
Yeah,
that was sick.
And the whole entire arena freaked out and was like singing, humming along to it. It'd be a great intro.
Awesome. All right, I'm adding that to the mix for sure.
There we go.
We love it. We're gonna hear it next year at the Vikings opener. We're just gonna hear it.
That could be a really good kickoff song.
Yeah,
think about it.
That would be fucking awesome. Just
goosebumps.
Yeah, like it starts off slow and then you kind of mix it in a way. I mean, you're the DJ, so I'm not gonna tell you how to do it, but you kind of
look. I'll take ideas. A good idea is a good idea.
Yeah,
and this is just another basic question again. Do you control all the sounds during the game?
No, I'll do this.
So that's a separate person.
They'll sound booth. Yeah, so you'll hear that's why you'll hear the same. There's kind of a format in songs that you'll hear over and over on third downs and different things like that. I'll do like the pregame music. We'll help with some of the selections. We'll do some of the breaks and timeouts. Halftime sometimes, depending on the artist, I'll come out with them and DJ for it. We'll do, I'll try to do. We've been doing these energy breaks. I try to do some fun sets, especially I love the night and the primetime games. I want to make when I go out there special events, and something that you can't do, every week, right? So you'll see if there's a night game, if there's a really high profile game like Dallas, where I'll come and DJ in between a break and a set. And the goal there is to really amp the players up and give them some stuff that's fun and create something that's more than just the average timeout. For example, the Giants game, we did a fun set right under the horn, which was a new space that we had, but we did a really cinematic camera shot. I brought out La Gritty, and it was actually the first time ever that Justin Jefferson met him, and obviously the dance is insane. They met pregame, so brought him out, performed his song, had him up doing the Gritty in front of the crowd, did a fun 2-minute set. And right before offense came out to kind of hype that up, and they scored after, I think. So it was a good, it worked from that perspective, at least, brought great energy. So, I want to save and create really big moments when I come out and do those things. So.
Yeah, you got the assist on that one. Absolutely, throw it on the stat sheet. You got the boys pumped up. They came out and scored. That was a big thing. The Vikings scored a lot on those first drives. That was a statistic this year. And they would normally win every time they did that. So I think you deserve a piece of credit for every time for bringing the energy.
I'll take it. I don't know if I do, but I'll take it. I'll use that stat.
Yep, that's great. They were the #1 team to scoring on the first play.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's hilarious.
And that has something to do with some of the pregame hype.
Absolutely.
And music.
Yep.
So you just
like, look, that's what we say. Like, music is so important with sports, right? Like, and you know where I really realized it was the COVID season, because going to that stadium and being literally the only person alongside the photographers that were there sitting in the seats and in the stands because I was playing music for them, like. Dude, it was so dead without, like, the energy is so important. And even me, like, obviously you'd think I'd understand that, and I do, but seeing it like empty and without that energy and like was just wild. I actually didn't go out the first week, and it was so bad the players literally hit me, and the organization was like, hey, can you please come out and like just even play during some of the timeouts and breaks? Like, it's so bad here. So I ended up going to every game after week one. And it was just, seeing the difference there and adding those elements, it really makes all the difference. And again, like, it's never going to be the reason a team wins the game, right? Like, it's not like, oh, I played music and they won. But if we can, again, play in the margins, and the games sometimes come down to that extra 1%, if a guy's a little more energized or motivated or happier, and it makes them like jump half an inch higher, dive half a yard further, right? Like, that could be the difference. So we're trying to give like every little advantage that we have from like the entertainment side to motivate it, and hopefully we love seeing when guys perform and enjoy it, and most importantly have fun. I think when you're looser and you have fun, you'll have a better game.
Yeah, I know it wasn't ideal, but how cool was it kind of being the only fan in there to watch the team play? That had to be pretty sick.
So I thought it would be awesome. I'm like, man, this is awesome. Like, getting my antisocial on. I don't have to be around people, be annoyed, right? Like, the stadium's to myself. And that lasted about 5 minutes. Like, walking, it was depressing. It was miserable. Even watching the games. I remember there was a game, I think it was against Detroit, we were playing. I could barely even watch the game. I'm like texting people like, damn, isn't this a boring game? And they're like, what are you talking about? This is the best game of the year. It's like tied, blah, blah, blah. And like, it was a really, really bad experience that made me appreciate the value of fans and energy, and also like reflect on how lucky we were before and not take those things for granted, right? Like, at that point, like 2020, right? Like, I've been doing it now 4 years. So had been there and like, all right, cool. It was becoming normal. It almost gave me a whole new reappreciation for games, for sports, for us as a people, and for like, it gave me like, in a strange way, like, renewed my energy as well. Especially going into the season and having people, just seeing what that was like. It was a surreal experience, and I have some of the craziest. I mean, it was cool, I guess. I have some of the craziest pictures I'll ever have in my life of me sitting there in a stadium with like nobody else around, which is just so strange. But it was not fun at all, and we need fans, and it was quite a strange time.
The cardboard cutout phase is what I will always remember about sports during COVID. Like, mental snapshot of how bizarre of an image that was. Something straight out of, seriously, like the Twilight Zone. Mm-hmm. Like, this is a post-apocalyptic world where no one exists except for athletes, and the fan noise is pumped in. There's pictures of random people's faces on cardboard cutouts sitting in the seats. Like, just what a wild time. But you even mentioned, so that's you with cardboard cutouts. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's me sitting next to my cardboard cutout next to, who else was it? Nick Swartz and Josh Duhamel. I was next to John Randall and Cunningham, and then there was a dog cutout behind me, it looks like, right?
Yeah.
So sweet. Yeah, someone went to some crazy lengths for that.
Did you, like, when you were sitting there just amongst cardboard cutouts, did you feel like you were almost in like a loony bin, and you were in some sort of experiment? And people were observing.
Really
that's
weird.
just gotta be so weird.
It was so weird. I mean, the only people literally there. So there was players on the field, right? We couldn't be set up on the field because I wasn't living there, and you have to go through like daily protocol for COVID testing, right? To even, like, they had different tiers of it. So we set up my booth behind the bench. But there was like, some of that was like a tier 1 area. So we moved it like 1 inch next to that area. So I didn't have to go through that testing thing, but it was literally myself, the game day director, and then just like camera people and photographers. And it was just such a strange and weird experience every single week. Like, you probably can't even see it, but this is like a crazy picture I have from like, I'm at the very top, like sitting on it.
Oh yeah.
Like,
wow.
Yeah.
Rows,
Oh
yeah.
right? Like, I have so many, like, it is like a weird kind of, hold on, I'm trying to pull up some other ones. Like, it was very like Twilight Zone, bizarre-ish. And yeah, it's just the energy and the just being in that stadium and having like no sound was
I know.
Yeah.
so odd.
Well, and you mentioned like how they didn't need the music to win, but they'd prefer it. I almost kind of think about it like driving. Like I can drive somewhere without listening to anything, but I'd much rather listen to music while I get there because it's more enjoyable. So I feel like I
100%.
kind of get that. It's nuts.
100%, you nailed it. Yeah, it was just. I mean, like, look at the DJ list. It's me and
Yeah.
Maurice.
Wow.
The thing there, and no fans. Like
Just
the players right under that. It was just strange.
You're playing some song that would be typically meant to get the crowd going, like pump it up,
yeah.
pump it up,
Yeah.
and there's just no one there to like. Well,
Yeah, that's like my view
crazy.
watching the game, right? Like I'm the only fan in the stand sitting there while
that's-
it's playing. And it
That'd
looks
be bizarre.
so weird.
It was the strangest thing ever.
I
But,
remember like pitchers too in baseball. The pitchers who wouldn't be playing would just go up and sit in random seats. I don't know if you guys remember
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I just remember watching games and being like, "What the hell?" Or like in the NHL, they just throw tarps over all the seats. Just so weird.
It was like, yeah, it really just goes to show how much you need fans in the sports. Like we still watched it and still love that we had some sort of sport on TV, but not even seeing, even though you weren't there, but not seeing even the crowd like on the TV in the, at the game was just made everything. It made it seem like they were just watching scrimmages or exhibitions or something.
Like a spring game.
Yeah, it's very weird.
Yeah. It was awful. It was awful. And yeah, like I think the players really appreciate it. It was so weird for players like Justin watching him like remember the start of the season didn't do much. I'm like, damn, when's he gonna like show up? And then watching his breakout games, like, what the hell is going on? This guy's incredible, right? Like it has to be tough for those guys too. Like I can only imagine. I remember the players just complaining about it, but yeah, definitely Twilight Zone and surreal. Glad we're back.
Yep, absolutely.
Back to normal for now.
Well, have you played a concert in the metaverse, right?
Yeah, we were doing a bunch during that series. We launched a whole series where that's really how I got into it. We were like doing these virtual sets and letting like we actually did it even with the Twins when they were
Yeah.
in 2020. I think it was it for some of the games. It might have even been the playoff games. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was the playoffs. Yeah, gets the
Yeah, and
Astros.
we'd bring in like it was interesting. Like we let because there was no fans in the stadium, so we do these virtual sets where it was me as an avatar DJing, as being motion tracked through an Oculus headset, and we put together this really cool production. And basically, the screen, like there's a virtual screen behind me, we let fans control. So we would broadcast live on Twitch. Fans in the chat could drop a Giphy link that would pop up anything. It could be Michael Scott. It could be, Kirby Puckett. It could be any image. We'd put those up behind it so the fans would actually control it. And then they'd send shout outs. We pumped that feed into the stadium. And in the bottom corner on Twitch, we put a picture-in-picture window of batting practice. I remember a lot of like, even me, like I love going to games early and watching BP. That wasn't happening. So we gave kind of this, we tried to bring both worlds together where we'd have fans, like you could come in and shout out a player and I'd be like, oh, shout out to Buck from, Mike in Ohio, right? Or whatever that is. And then you'd see the players like waving back and we play, like I'd get their requests and we're playing their songs. So we tried to give like the experience and make it, do something innovative and fun and bring the worlds together. And it was a fun type of, experience. It was super early. And the set was really fun. We gave users control of it, and then the players, the guys all really liked it. So that was a fun thing to do, and it was fun. Just like I have some of the video and footage of us, literally being on the taking over the entire screen at Target Field, and while the guys are taking BP, they're getting a DJ and a live experience. So hopefully it pumped them up and made them feel a little better.
Yeah, that was really. I saw a bunch of artists and people doing that. During that COVID time, it seemed pretty unique. But I saw you did contribute to or authored potentially a metaverse book.
Yep. Yeah, I put out my first book, which if you would have told me 5 years ago, my first book would be in the metaverse, I thought you were crazy. But the pandemic happened, right? Like we realized we had to start doing digital events and experiences. And, our thought process on the metaverse is, it's now the word's been, taken over by other parties and not always for the best use. But we look at the internet's evolving from a 2D to a more 3D and immersive in something that people can touch and interact in a better scale than just like reading and watching. And so we started building experiences like that, right? That broke down that third wall, that connected all these different worlds, that took, items and concepts that worked in the real world and brought them to a digital world, which opened up the audiences from territories and geographies. And now we've gone on to become, my company Dash has become like the biggest builders running like the biggest celebrity Roblox experience, I believe, to date with Paris Hilton, doing all this stuff with Snoop, doing, even like Lincoln Center, cities like New Orleans, we're building out the Nolaverse right now for the city. So yeah, like it's been a unique lane and kind of natural to what I've always done, mixing like tech, advanced experience, music, entertainment, and yeah, I'm excited to see how that evolves. We're still super early in the technology, but I've been fortunate enough just by doing things like this and experimenting out of necessity during COVID to find this new lane that we believe like the tech will be the future for it.
Yeah.
Well, I gotta ask, do you own any digital real estate?
You know what? I'm not a big fan of digital real estate. I have a bunch of, I have a ton of NFT like art and stuff, even OG stuff like CryptoPunks. But I'm not really a big fan of a lot of the digital real estate just because I don't think that scarcity really exists in an environment with, unless you're artificially of land being, it's not important to be door if you're in Minneapolis, right? Like it depends that you're next door to Target Field or not. In a digital world, you're never going to go next door through a typical thing. Like if I have to walk upstairs and walk next door, even if it takes me 30 seconds, it's a waste of time. Like the great thing about the metaverse is you can teleport. So then by that theory, it doesn't matter if you're next door or if you're in, Thailand at that point, right? Like you should be able to teleport to that land. So I haven't gotten in on the virtual land stuff yet.
It's a really strange concept. People are paying millions of dollars for
There's a guy who bought, a $300,000 yacht, I think, in the metaverse. And the first time I read that, I'm like, that blows my mind.
And
some of the stuff is just, look, it's the .com era all over again, right? Like this is transformative technology that's definitely taking over. It's still so early. The hype cycle came very early and it brought in like a lot of pretenders and people that just didn't understand what it is. Now the real building is being done and you'll see like tremendous use cases we believe in the future. But like we're still super early and it's got to be things that like for consumers, it needs to be something that's funner. I mean, you're competing against through video games, Netflix, sports. It's got to be on par with that. It can't be like these bad experiences. And it can't be just like speculating, invest in this, and it just goes up forever, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, I don't know if you guys had any other questions.
I have one final question. You're a part owner, or maybe you are the solo owner of Cards and Coffee Company. Is that true?
Yeah, I'm a partner there, myself and Steve Aoki.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, so I was just wondering. I'm a big card guy. I know producer Cam over here is a big card guy himself. I'm just wondering, what do you personal collect? What are your brands you like? What sports do you like?
So mostly, baseball is probably number one with basketball and football. Right there after it, I collect, for a couple different things like. I have a fund that we launched. So as part of the fund, we own the one of one Mike Trout. We paid $1 million for his platinum 2011 Topps update card. We have what the Baseball Hall of Fame considers the best modern day post like 2016 card, Vlad Guerrero Jr. Superfractor auto rookie. We have, I forgot that we even had this. We made an acquisition of the Ohtani one of one Topps Chrome Sapphire auto rookie. We have the Wander Franco one of one platinum. So like I love those. I've always loved things that were like numbered and serialized, especially modern one of one. But me, that's like on the investment end. For me personally, I've always been into like Minnesota cards and, cards are my favorite player. I love Ken Griffey Jr. too. So like my favorite card all time is like a 94 upper deck electric diamond Griffey card, right? Like nothing crazy, just something that I hunted as a kid and loved. Card scene, I was fortunate enough to team up with Topps and drop all my own series with them as part of Project 70 and beyond, and remixed kind of music and sports and that was such a fun project and it turned out really well. Getting to do things, and we did the Kirby Puckett Prince card and teamed up with the Twins to drop that. So I've had a lot of fun in the card scene, and it's a dream come true. It was actually my first business as a 7-year-old. Was selling it out of my garage.
Yeah. That's awesome. I mean, did you have your own card by this point? I assume you have your own one, right?
DJ.
Yeah, I did a whole line with Topps. So we did as part of Project 70. So I'd take like major cards and like remix them with sports. So like I'll grab a couple. Actually, I'll grab a couple Minnesota ones.
Yeah, let's see them.
Sick.
So mine were all like mixing sports and music. It was like creating a mixtape cover. So for Kirby Puckett, we took like Kirby Puckett and Prince, right? So I did like the Purple Rain themed album cover. with Kirby in there, right?
that
So it
is
was like
so
remixing
cool.
those worlds. This was like the limited edition one numbered. We numbered this out of 91. It had like an alternate image on the front. I do a playlist. The QR code would take you to a playlist that broke down the whole inspiration and all the stories on the cards.
So cool.
For Byron Buxton, I put out one for, I was trying to find the artist. So with DMX, just because there was a great image of aggression, and it was right after DMX passed away. So we did like the Bucks DMX thing. And the dopest thing was when I showed it to Buck, he was like, man, that's the best card anybody's ever made of me. So like getting that validation
Wow.
from him, he's my favorite player. Like, you know, it was just incredible.
Yeah.
You know, was so cool and so much fun.
That's sweet.
Yeah, those are probably the best cards I've ever seen before. The basic, especially the QR code, add a musical element to it. That's perfect.
For me, it's about storytelling. Like I dove in and spent so many hours just coming on like the concepts, right? Like what's there, and there's like 100 hidden elements, right? Like you have the behind it, like we have the First Avenue stars. We put the one gold star to represent the Prince gold star, right? The rest are silver. I put the catch behind that. We have like, instead of lights of the flame from like the Prince album cover, you see like the Metrodome kind of skybox suites with like an ember glow on them. On this, we did like the 2 different DMX covers. They were actually born the same day and share the same birthday, Byron Buxton and DMX. Like, yeah, there's like a lot of like random little stories that came in and did that. I actually put one of my old mixtapes on the bottom for my like logo placement. That's from like the game mixtape, the first one that I did with him, that like is how a lot of people discovered me. So like did a lot of storytelling into that, and when you peel back the layers. So
That's do you have any plans to do anything like that in the future, or not as of right now?
Oh yeah. You'll see us. You know, you see more things to come. We're having some, you know, a lot of conversations right now. So I'm excited for what's going to come.
Yeah, we'll definitely, you got to get something for the house.
Yeah,
for
sure.
Yeah, we're gonna have
Card
to
collection.
We're gonna have to make an investment.
We'll get you guys hooked up. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Absolutely. Well, yeah. You see, have, you know, we love collecting memorabilia. We have all sorts of stuff in our studio here. So
Mick Golden bottles.
Those are more of just trash laying around. But that's super sweet. We definitely need to get something.
I got something for you guys. Like, send me your guys' address. I'm going to send you something that's there. Actually, another collab I did that I think will look good on the wall there.
Yes, absolutely.
Fucking go, boys.
We will throw it up.
I'll send you some cards as well too.
Oh,
awesome.
Sick.
Yeah, we greatly
always
appreciate
need
that.
more memorabilia here.
I was just gonna say too, before we get into our rapid fire, like I see you have a ton of baseballs and shoes. Is there any story behind those, or just
all of them, man? Of course.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff. Like, so let's see what we have here. I'll turn around. So, you'll appreciate this. So, like Jordan OG 11 signed by Mike. Behind that, game worn rookie Kevin Garnett shoes.
Holy shit!
It's the Nike Up Tempos signed by him too. Under that, I have actually the like promo sample. They never came out. Nipsey Hussle. I used to manage Nipsey. They did an Air Jordan 3 before he did his Puma deal. With a victory lap on the bottom. RIP to Nip. A pair of the yellow ones behind that are actually rookie year Justin Jefferson game worn shoes.
Nice.
He wore that in, I think it was the Cowboys game, maybe one other, and then like some soccer cleats from Clint Dempsey, who's the captain of the U.S. team. Let's see, King Griffey Jr. game worn signed cleats. Let's see what else? Oh, there's the other Garnett shoes, some Warren Sapp player editions, LeBron James finals used shoes.
Oh
Shaq,
my God.
Some Air Mags, some custom Nikes Nike made for me. They actually say Skee Air on one and Skull Air on the other in the Nike font, which is kind of sick. So I love those. And then like jerseys, my whole wall over here is like Garnett rookie jersey, Adrian Peterson jersey. My favorite one though is a Brian Harper 91 Twins jersey that he wore in the World Series. And actually I have his batting glove. He threw it to me pregame. And there's a picture of it in the air of him throwing it. He's like,
that's
the glove is there.
incredible.
So I ended up, I'd had the glove my whole life. The jersey went up for auction a while ago. So I bought the jersey and then paired it with the glove. So like, that's cool. And then like random stuff, like one of my good friends is Ronnie Turioff. So he played a short stint with the Wolves. And I was like, I want the Wolves jersey. Everybody for him wants like the Lakers jersey or Heat jersey when they won a championship. I'm like, I want the Wolves one. So I got like a Ronnie jersey just to support, he's one of my best friends. So had to support that. And then, like a bunch of random,
This is one room of your house, and I'm incredibly jealous of
I know.
it.
I'm going to say, I've been collecting memorabilia my whole life. Just one of your sneakers there is worth more than everything I've ever collected.
Big time.
I'm fortunate. It's been fun. I've always collected things. Signed balls, everything from like Joe Mauer, Griffey, Harmon Killebrew.
That's good.
And then a couple of the people that I work with, like Clayton Kershaw, I've done a bunch of his events. So
Nice.
he gave me a signed jersey up there. Jeremy Guthrie he signed actually a ball from the World Series when he started Game 7 against the Giants years ago. I went out to that game and Jeremy was a good friend. Unfortunately, they didn't win it. They won the World Series next year, but yeah, it's a lot of it's like personal stories for me, from like Brian Harper to favorite players to people that I actually know and interact with. So.
Dude, that's so awesome. That's just incredible.
Awesome.
That's the best part about memorabilia. It's not just about like what it looks like. It's just that it tells a story.
100%. All those things. Even this plaque, right? Like this is actually Dr. Dre's plaque for the Chronic and Doggy Style albums. It's giant. It's like 5 feet tall.
Are those like some of the platinum album records in there?
Yeah, so that's for like that should be in the Smithsonian. It's for the Chronic and Doggy Style, right?
That's
like two of the greatest hip hop albums ever. And it's presented to Dre. It's his personal plaque. I actually ended up picking that up at the Death Row bankruptcy auction in the late 2000s. And I'd always said for years I was going to give it to Dre. I was just holding it for him if he ever wanted it. And Dre at this point was like one person I hadn't connected in the West Coast hip hop scene. I knew pretty much everybody else. And I one day, I'd shown it to Snoop, I'd shown it to a bunch of others. Exhibit called me and was like, hey, bring the plaque over to the studio. And I knew what that meant. So I loaded up my truck. And when I was loading it up, I was like, damn, am I really giving this back? Like I was having kind of second thoughts. So I was always like, if Dre wants it, it's his. Like I'll give it back. So anyways, drive it over there, take it out, have the best conversation with Dre. It has a bunch of other magazine covers. You see like the Vibe cover, the Source cover. He's telling me the story. He's like, oh, we actually shot this photo back here. We did this, we did that, like going through it all. And, so we talked for an hour and Bill like the coolest dude ever. And then, at the end, I'm like, well, it's yours, whatever you want to do. He's like, I don't want to have, he obviously had a lot of beef with Death Row. He's like, I just don't want that energy around. I'm like, dude, if you want to smash it and you don't want this to exist in the world and that energy, they're like, go for it. It's yours. He's like, nah. I'm like, dude, he's like, I don't want it, but I want you to keep it and I'm going to sign it for you. And I was like, that's awesome, but you don't feel obligated. Like, he's like, no, I want you to have it. Like it should stay out there. So he signed it then to me personally. So it just goes to show you try to do well. Good things always come back. I was planning to give it away, right? And I was like, damn, and almost regretting it. But if I didn't do that, right, like I wouldn't have gotten to meet him, wouldn't have that story, wouldn't have it signed. And then a week later was the Beats by Dre launch party, and they did like the craziest party ever. They had every artist. It was the ultimate playlist. So every artist from Wu-Tang Clan to Jay-Z to Nas to Eminem to Dre was there to perform one or two songs. And every celebrity and stars in the building. It was like in a small venue that fit like 500 people. So then they get there. They told me what was happening. They didn't tell anybody what was going to happen. So I got there early and was like in the front row. They're like, hey, come to the side stage, like VIP. And I was like, no, it's an awful view. I actually want to watch this. This looks fun. So then in front of everybody, and like Paul McCartney's there, everybody else. Ray walks out and shouts me out at everybody. Like, so it was like, perfect ending. So always do right. And in the world, karma comes back to you. So that's my lesson there.
That's such a cool story. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, so I'm a huge fan of music memorabilia. I mean, I think it's wildly undervalued. Yeah. You'll see us doing some things there later this year too. So
yeah,
it's awesome.
Absolutely. Well, Skee, we've had such a blast interviewing you. The one thing we got to do before we let you go is just a rapid fire. We're just going to ask you 10 random questions and just feel free to answer them as fast as you can.
Let's go.
All right. First one. This is actually a great one because you're an artist, but you're on a deserted island for the rest of your life. You can listen to one song for forever. What is it?
I don't know. That's tough. It's got to be something happy and that gives you hope, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of something energetic, like, or find me. I'd probably be playing something to like keep hope and energy. Ooh, I don't know.
Don't Stop Believing by Journey.
Yeah.
You might
know boat is coming.
Let's go with that, right?
No.
Because you feel it, right? And great song, right? You can sing along. We've probably heard it like, a million times already. So, if you can't get sick of it, then you're not ever going to be. But yeah, I think we got to do that. We, got to keep the faith.
All right. We're doing that.
Absolutely. How many fourth graders could you fend off in self-defense?
Oh man, fourth graders are tough nowadays. Right?
Yeah.
What type of what do I have? Just my arms and
Yep, exactly.
Everything that's on you currently. Yeah.
Yep.
I could, I think I could take a bunch though. I've been, gym. I'm in good shape. I could run for a second, get away. I think they're not going to be as I think I could probably take about 45, 50.
Oh, there
Okay.
we go.
I like the
Yeah.
because everyone takes the approach of I'll attack them, where you're more like I'm gonna run away until they get
I'll
tired.
run away until they get there. They'll get disorganized. I'll be able
Yeah.
to fight people off at a time. They're not
Yeah.
going to be able to hang.
Just
I can
throw
take
some
on.
punches.
Just
Yeah.
throw some Cheez-Its at them and they'll
Yeah.
scram.
Yeah, exactly.
I've won.
You need
Yeah.
you need a strategy when you're facing these fourth graders. Yeah.
Absolutely. No, that's one of the best ones we've gotten. What do you prefer, Minneapolis or St. Paul?
I'm a St. Paul kid at heart, so that's always going to be home. So I can never go against the grain for that. As St. Paul made me, even though I spend more time in Minneapolis now, and love Minneapolis, but I can't go against St. Paul.
Yep. No, that's an interesting one. I think especially asking people from St. Paul who work in Minneapolis. So that's a good one. What would you name a boat if you had one, or if you do have one?
It had to be like some Vikings thing, right? Like so, like what's a Viking ship?
The
called?
Love Boat.
The longboat. Love boat too is another.
Yeah, not the love boat. That's enough bad luck. That's a great one. Fred, call it Smoot, right?
SS Smoot.
Yep.
Call it Valhalla or Skull or something with the Vikings Nordic theme. So
Odin.
Yeah,
That's
perfect.
a god, though.
Does pineapple belong on pizza?
yeah, it's actually good. I actually like it. Yeah.
Okay. If you were given an all expenses paid trip to Winnipeg, Canada, would you take it?
Probably not.
If your laptop could speak, what would it say?
Give me a break.
Yeah. I was gonna say, especially
let me get to
in
some
your
rest.
field.
Yeah, right? Pro Tools.
Exactly. Yeah. Pro Tools is like just quit. Just for
Enough already.
I put my laptop through some things. So
Yeah. Exactly.
That could be interpreted a lot of different ways,
Yes.
by the way.
Yeah. Exactly. What is your least favorite fast food place?
I try to not eat much fast food. I'm a vegetarian and try to eat healthy generally. So I'd say I'm not really into any of it.
So all of them are your least favorite,
All of them
pretty
suck.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure, that's probably the best answer that anyone
Correct.
could give, honestly. No one
Health-wise.
should be drinking or
Yeah.
eating any of that.
FDA approves.
Although still the best fast food though is still the combination Pizza Hut Taco Bell. If you're ever in a bind and just need something, right?
I agree with that.
I'd say everything except the Pizza Hut Taco Bell.
Yeah.
The combo.
You can't go wrong.
Oh, yeah.
It's just so
It
extreme.
was classic.
Yeah.
Growing up.
If a movie is made about your life, who would play you?
Ooh, I don't know. Hopefully somebody that's. Well, I have no idea. Who do you guys think?
Matt
You guys
Damon.
know.
No, I'm just joking. I don't know.
I'm not good at actors. Sports guy.
I don't know.
I know, right? Let's get an athlete. Hopefully, you know what? Hopefully, it's not an athlete because they're generally the worst.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Anybody but an athlete. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
When you said Matt Damon, I could see like a young Matt Damon, right?
Young
Like-
Matt Damon. I could see like Chris Pratt if he's a little skinnier. Like, maybe, I don't know.
all right.
Yeah. I don't know. Slimmer.
I'll
I
take
think
very
Ben
slimmer.
Affleck too can look like anybody.
Yeah.
I'm convinced.
Ben
It's true. He's
Affleck.
done
He's like a
everything.
shapeshifter.
Brad Pitt.
If I
Maybe
make it
younger
to
Brad
that
Pitt.
level where any of those guys are even, know who I am, I'm in the game. So.
Yeah.
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 We can make it happen.
Yeah,
We're
we'll
making
let
a
them
movie.
know. We got them on speed dial.
Yeah, we can make this happen.
They're all Minnesota
Maybe
sports fans.
let's go Nick Swardson since he's another.
Yeah, there you go.
Swardson.
There
That'd
you
be
go.
great.
Yeah.
Nick Swardson.
Link up the
You
old.
can't take yourself too serious, so I'm scared to see what he'd do.
Oh, no.
Oh.
He would take your character to
I
a
would
whole new level.
definitely pay to see the movie though.
Yeah, if it's
Yeah.
Nick Swardson.
There we go.
Absolutely. Well, the final one, and it's very fitting, actually. I think you might be our first guest wearing a baseball jersey to answer this question. But just give us your strike three call. What would it be? Skee's behind the plate.
Man, I'm so frustrated with umpires. It'd be a robot. It would be nothing except getting that robotic call in, and because I think we need to shift to the robot ops. And I'm a baseball purist at heart, but some of these calls are just so ridiculous, and to let the fact that we can know the real answers to that dictate a game is so frustrating. So hopefully it's nothing more than a light up and there's no sound. Maybe I'll make like a music sound, right?
Yeah, right.
So we take over the stadium so everybody hears it. That would be actually sick, and that's going to happen someday, right? There'll be some sound for that just automatically cues and the lights flicker and stuff when
everyone
there's a strike.
cheers.
It's just a beep.
Yeah.
I swear, like, I don't know, Cam, I know you watch a lot of baseball, but I swear, like, when the Yankees, every time they'd strike out the Twins, they would play, like, the Mockingjay sound from the Hunger Games. Like the
Yeah.
do-do-do-do.
They play that little whistle that
Yeah, I think it's different, but it sounds a lot like it.
yeah.
I'm also
I hate that sound.
Yeah.
I was just there last week for two of the Twins games, so I hated hearing it.
Also, let's start a petition anytime there's two strikes and the Twins are pitching. Let's throw in a purge horn.
I like that. I like that.
You know,
I
kind
actually
of-
used the birch horn. I actually used that for Jorge Lopez's intro last year.
Really?
I did some sounds for them. Yeah, I put that together for him. So I used that, I think, to start it off.
That's a great relief pitcher or closer.
I don't
in
think
general,
there's any
too.
sound more intimidating to me for whatever reason. I think it's also a great third down sound effect too. I think there's a few teams in the NFL who do it, but it's when they play that horn on like third down, it's like, oh shit.
The Gallo horn though is pretty.
It is.
intimidating.
It is. That's hard to beat. But like
Yeah.
for any other sport, maybe
Yeah.
we could implement.
It's awesome.
I'm just. It's so funny that we've asked probably 100 people, give us your strike 3 call, and he's just like robot ump, bro.
So many
Fucking
people
light.
like
You need to
so,
change.
so
Yeah,
many,
the
so
change
many
gotta
people
start.
will like stand up and you're like, oh shit, what's gonna happen next?
Yeah.
Like
Now it's just something out. I love it though. It's innovative. Something out of Pro Tools. Cool sound.
yes.
We need a cool strike 3 sound.
Yep.
I agree.
Absolutely.
We got to make it. We got to make it.
All right, well, Skee, yeah, thank you so much, man, for taking the time to
course.
join us. This was such a blast. We definitely got to have
you
you,
guys.
definitely got to have you back on. Maybe even when you're back for Vikings games in person or something, we can link up.
Let's do it. Keep up the great work, guys. Thanks for having me. And yeah, keep crushing, keep supporting, and hopefully we can. Twins can put together a good season.
Yep.
Maybe the Timberwolves can win a game.
Yeah.
Hopefully the Wild keep up, and yeah, the Vikings should hopefully have a fun season too. So.
Skull, baby.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully by the Wild make it to the conference finals. Knock on wood. We block off 7th Avenue, for big watch parties for road games, and you're out there DJing.
That would be
I'm
sweet.
in. Let's go.
That'd be sick.
Almost
Go.
like the Bucks have like the whole village thing. That would be cool.
And I know
Go.
they've met. We've talked to people where they've mentioned that if they make it to the second or a conference finals, they probably would shut down West 7th and just have a big
Yeah.
party for like watch parties and shit. So that'd be awesome.
that would be incredible.
Hopefully I'll see you guys soon.
Dude, you are fucking ridiculous, dude. Who, me? Bro, you are nasty. I'm thinking, what? I mean, I'm so confused right now. You are fucking filthy, dude. I mean, I took a shower this morning. I didn't think. Dude, you are just a psychopath, man. I mean, I'm thought I wasn't crazy, but you are just absolutely disgusting, broski. Bro, I have no idea where this conversation's going.
All right, folks, welcome back to It's a Bit. Final segment on this show is going to be a draft of the worst fans. If you're listening to this podcast, you most likely go to sporting events or even concerts this could honestly apply at. And if you go to live sporting events or even you're friends with people who are sports fans or related to them, you probably have pet peeves. And we're going to draft our least favorite types of fans right now. So, Jake, I will hand it over to you to kick off the draft.
All right. Doon, 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 doon. With the first overall pick in the worst sports fans draft, WAG selects.
People who yell shoot when their team is
Yep.
on the fucking power play. They're pro athletes. They know what they're doing. They've studied tape. They've studied the other team. Let them run their system. Let them run their plays. They know that they need to shoot the puck on net, okay? Stop telling them to. Thank you.
Yeah.
And that's your. There you go. That's your 2 cents.
And you're and it's like you're not the one on the ice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they know what they're doing, man, okay?
Well,
There's some more variables there than just what you see.
Well, we have that bit that we do all the time where, like, for fun, we'll just yell, skate!
Yeah.
It doesn't matter
Well-
what sport event we're at, but that's such a generic fucking cheer where it's hilarious
I know.
to yell.
And
Same
we
with shoot.
we still do it at Wild games. We'll yell shoot, but we do it out of sarcasm
Yeah.
and parody. We
'Cause it's
we're not
ridiculous.
sitting there, but you will hear the dads or the older guys or anybody yelling. You legitimately hearing shoot.
Yeah.
First off, they can't hear you. They're so focused on the game, and there's a strategy here than just shooting. Okay, calm the fuck down. All right. Doon, 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 doon. With the second overall pick in the worst types of sports fans draft, I myself, JJ, select the over-optimist. The over-optimist. So this is the fan where every year is going to be the championship season. Regardless of the moves made, regardless of the trades, they are going to be good next year. That's what they always say. Oh, we're going to win it all next year. Oh, this move is a great move. We're going to be fucking amazing. And it drives me nuts. And I used to be this person. I am a recovering over-optimist fan. But in Minnesota, you got to be a realist. Not necessarily a pessimist, which I do sometimes, but this over-optimistic shit of we're going to be good this year.
Yeah.
We're going to make the playoffs. We're going to make a run. This team has, like last year, a lot of people were saying that this time the Twins were not only going to make the playoffs
In April.
but in April they were going to win a playoff series. This team hasn't even won a fucking playoff game since 2004. We don't even know if they're going to make the playoffs this year, and they sure as hell didn't end up making the playoffs. It's annoying. We need more realists in this state.
It's funny. You'd think like Minnesota has a lot of those really optimistic fans. You wouldn't think they would. You'd think it'd be places like New England where they always are having championships
And they're always bitching.
Right.
Tampa Bay, yeah.
You think somewhere like that would have those optimistic fans,
Right.
but it's never. Those are the bitching
Yeah.
fans.
Well, speaking of, like Frank the Tank, we all love Frank the Tank here. They swept the Oakland A's this weekend. I don't know if you saw it. He put out a video and he was still complaining
about sweet.
He's like, we should have lost 2 of 3. The A's let us win. Like that represents the East Coast fan base right there. Just always pessimists. All right, moving on. Ding ding doon doo 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 ding doon. With the 3rd overall pick in the worst sports fans draft, Bossman selects
Fans who leave the game early. People who show up to support the team and can't even sit down until the last buzzer. I get, maybe if you got the tickets for free and you got to go somewhere else, or, if you have a valid reason, maybe your grandma just had a heart attack. Sure, there's exceptions. But the people who simply leave games early because they think it's over and they want to get home earlier, I don't think are true fans. And I know you were mentioning all the Dallas fans leaving last night. I say fuck them. I was tired at work today. I'm a true fan.
If you're at the game, I would stay for the entire game,
right,
no matter what. Now, if you're at a bar or at a house, sure.
I just like everyone is very, very unique. You don't know what they have going on at work tomorrow. It could be one of their biggest days in the world.
Right.
It could be a big day for all those. I mean, construction season's always in Dallas,
I know.
right? Now, what if they're a bunch of construction guys?
It's just sad.
You paid that money.
It's
That's
sad
true,
because there are probably fans who couldn't afford those seats that
would
would
stay.
have stayed regardless of what they had going on the next day.
I agree, but I'd also argue those fans would stay if the game started earlier.
That's true. Yeah, no, and I'm just talking. This isn't like the whole late argument. That's a separate thing. These are just people who will leave if the team is losing.
Yeah.
And the funniest examples are like, I think it was the Heat back in the LeBron days,
Yeah.
where everyone walked out of the stadium and they made a massive comeback, and all of these idiots tried getting back in and were not allowed back in. Like, they shouldn't be allowed back in. If you've given up on the team is well more than happy to give up on you, and I think that's perfectly fair. So people who call themselves real fans but get up while there's still game left, I don't think you're a real fan. Especially economically, you paid to be at every second of that game. I don't know why you wouldn't stay.
Yeah.
Especially if you're sitting in nice seats, why you wouldn't try to soak up as much of what you paid for as possible.
Especially for
The
a playoff
experience.
ticket.
Right.
That's a lot of
Social
money.
aspect.
Right, and I don't think it's a good look for the players on the ice when they see fans have given up on them. I mean, it's just got to kill the motivation. You got to think of them; they're human too. So,
You look at the Vikings-Colts game. Mm-hmm. Fans left that at halftime. Sure, you're down 31-0, but you first off, you never know, and look what happened. You're there for the experience. And
I still think of that whenever we talk about the game. I think of we're in the line for the bathroom and a Colts fan just turns to a Vikings fan. It's like, I think you guys can come back. I think everything's fine. Like don't stress out too much. And the Vikings fan just turns to shut the fuck up just in his face.
and people who were coming up to me and saying "good game," I'm like, it's not over yet though.
there's 2 more quarters.
Yeah, so people who leave early, it bothers the shit out of me.
It's very annoying indeed. All right. Ding, 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 ding. With the 4th overall pick in the worst sports fans draft, Wag selects
The guy who is always standing up even though the rest of the crowd is sitting,
Yep.
especially if that person is right in front of you. It ruins your experience. Dude,
Yeah.
I get it. If one thing I liked about Dallas yesterday is on both of the overtimes, I felt like the crowd were on their feet the entire time. So I understand if you're standing, if everyone else is standing, but if everyone else is sitting and you're just standing by yourself, ruining it for everyone, the next 7 rows behind you, you're a piece of shit. Sit down when other people are sitting down. Stand up when you want to do a "Let's Get Sexy" chant or when people are cheering, right? That's
Exactly.
the only time.
I love how at the Timberwolves game when we were at the playing game on Friday, people were in an area where you're you have to stand right in the area where you enter the section, and I was yelling, "Sit down, sit down!" And then old lady in front of me turned, "I like you," but it's like they're actually supposed to stand there. I'm just being an idiot.
Yeah, well, that it's poorly designed at Target Center.
I know.
how they have
That was weird.
Yeah, because you couldn't see shit when people were just walking to the concessions.
Yeah, and it's fun. It's funny though that it reminds me of, I've told this story before. In 2015, last time in the Wild, we're in the second round at Game 3 against the Blackhawks. There was just a Wild fan that We're all yelling Crawford at the beginning of the game, but he never sat down. Everyone else sat down. He didn't, and he was calling people bitches and dicks and pricks, and it was hilarious, but it was very annoying at some point. So I totally get it. All right. Ding ding doon doo doo ding doon. With the 5th overall pick in the Worst Sports Fans draft, I myself, JJ Select. I'm trying to think of the word to call them. I'm going to say the shushers, aka the people who tell you to be quiet at a public or live sporting event where there's sound and there's other people there and you're supposed to cheer on your team. Apparently you can't fucking celebrate. I've been told this. We've been said this multiple times by like ushers last year at the Wild playoff game, and then that dude in the preseason game this year turned around and told me to shut up when I was just kind of like announcing the game but getting excited. Bro, you're at a live sporting event. Sit at home if you don't want to hear sound.
Yeah,
or people cheering.
It's one thing where Kirk Cousins is leading the team on offense. People are saying, "Shh, okay, you're supposed to be quiet there. Don't
Sure,
be the
that's
dumbass
football,
who's loud." But like, yeah, just like you said, we were literally at a game where we were talking, and like I think you were doing like a PA bit where like for like maybe 20 seconds.
It wasn't even that loud.
You were pretending to announce the game as PA in the first period, and this old guy turns around and he literally does that movie bit. This is what you're doing. This is what I want you to do.
So shut up. It's like, bro, calm the fuck down. So those people can go to hell.
We ruined his viewing experience the rest of the game, though.
But the rest of the game, it was
He
like
deserved it though.
Yeah,
we were just shitting out.
We're like, oh no, keep it down. They scored, and we'd be like, okay, keep it down.
We would shush them when they cheered for a goal. Dude, it was hilarious.
Well, it kind of reminded me. Did you see that? I saw a video a few days ago. I don't know if it happened this year, but a pitcher for Florida. It was college baseball. He got tossed from the game.
Happened a few days ago.
Yeah, he got tossed from the game for apparently overly celebrating after getting a strikeout.
Oh,
and he was like, yeah, like a normal celebration, and then I think Florida ended up winning the game on a walk-off grand slam or something, and the runner was just walking around the base very monotone. They were all patting him on the, he got to home plate. He didn't jump or anything. He just walked right through the crowd, went into the dugout, threw his helmet down.
He kept his arms at his side the whole time.
No, because they can't celebrate. I'm like, that was a big fuck you to the ump. But it's like those people like that.
There was a baseball player who got in trouble for like a bat flip, I remember. Like now they're starting to call out bat flippers, which is just so stupid. You're taking the you're trying to take the passion out of sports.
Dude,
I never got that.
It's not a movie.
Out of all sports, dude, there's no like official who loves to be in the spotlight more than a fucking umpire in baseball. The amount of ridiculous people getting kicked out, like it happens almost daily in baseball. Over bat flips, over celebrating, it's like people aren't paying money to see you umpire the game.
I know.
People are paying money to watch the athletes on the field.
Right.
It's annoying now. All right. Ding, ding, doon, doo, 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 ding, doon. With the 6th overall pick in the Worst Sports Fans draft, Bossman selects
adult fans who try to get autographs, foul balls, or pucks before kids.
Yeah, that's a good one.
If like during batting practice, if you see a sea of children and there's an adult basically shoving kids around to try to get his baseball autographed, go fuck yourself. You're an adult with a full-time job. You can buy autograph stuff. You can buy Rowling's baseballs at Target if you really want one that bad. Let the kids have it. Grow the game. If you catch a foul ball, give it to a fucking kid. I've seen adults at hockey games try to get sticks. I'm sorry, hockey players aren't giving you their fucking stick. You're a grown-ass man with a full-time job. Give it to a kid.
The exception is if you're old as fuck. If you're if you're a senior citizen, you can get a stick, you can get a puck.
Yes, but even like if you physically have the capability and the smarts to get a ball or a puck, do a good deed and give it to a child. It blows my mind. And I actually saw a video from the Kings Golden State game last night. Steph Curry had to yell at an adult fan who was trying to get an autograph because he was like smothering a child.
Yeah.
So it just blows my mind how people are just so weird that are adults over stuff like that they can just go out and buy.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
I love like that they're into memorabilia. That's not what I'm saying. Like I think autograph stuff is cool.
Buy it. Yeah.
Yeah. Or maybe if no one else is down there for batting practice, be like, I'll mosey on down there and get some autographs. Cool.
Yeah.
Or even if there are kids down there and you're an adult, wait behind them.
There's been so many baseball games this year for some fucking reason to start at 12 o'clock on a Tuesday. There's not going to be kids there, dude.
Right.
Go get your autograph then.
And if there are, let them go first. And if you're the last guy in line, cool, you can get your autograph. But like Steph Curry was yelling at the guy last night, do not push kids over to get autographs.
Yeah. It's absolutely ridiculous.
So stupid, dude.
Those people literally, I don't think, have any sort of competency.
It's like their brains aren't fully developed.
There's something wrong upstairs. Like there's it's not not a good look at all.
So correct me, like the rule of thumb when it comes to baseball is like if a player throws a ball up, you got to give it to a kid. If you catch a foul ball, you got to give it to the kid, right? Anything like that. I think the only time you as an adult are allowed to keep a ball is if you catch a home run ball. That's a little different than a foul ball. That's a little different than, I mean, if you catch a ball that's hit by your favorite player, it's a home run ball. I'm not going to blame a 30-year-old for not turning and immediately giving it to a child. That's the only thing, though. Every other situation, you got to give the ball to the kid.
I know, every single time. We're not like our producer, Andy, who is just a complete asshole when it comes to giving balls to kids.
At the Saints game, refused to give it to a child, and then he claims he walked up and gave it to one. We're like, we didn't see that.
No, I think he
probably
did.
Just had it in his coat.
I think, well, he might have had two, but I think he did, but it was through coercion and immense amounts of pressure on him, which is ridiculous.
If I was a parent, I wouldn't want Andy walking up to my child.
No, I know. Maybe that's true. Like, that is very true, honestly. He shouldn't be around anybody. He can keep the ball.
Yep.
So, all right.
Pick number 7, eh?
Pick 7. All right. Doon, 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 doon. With the 7th overall pick in the Worst Sports Fans Draft, Wig selects.
I'm going to go kind of the opposite of one of your earlier picks. I'm going with the extremely pessimistic fan. I'm going to call this the Walter Bringold. This is when, let's say the Wild and the Stars are playing each other in the playoffs, and let's say the Dallas Stars scored 2 minutes in the game. It's like the person who's almost ready to turn the TV off already because they're like, this game's over. They're going to lose. You get a lot of those fans, especially here in Minnesota. You have like really optimistic or really pessimistic, and I think that's why there's so much hate on Twitter and social media stuff because like they're polar opposites of our fan base, right? But those people are just as annoying to be around than the extremely optimistic
Jake,
ones.
that was you last night, and you actually got called out for it by somebody because you were like, this feels just like the 202014 playoff series.
2017.
And 4 people simultaneously were like, shut the fuck up.
I know.
Stop.
I myself, I was an over optimist, and I've definitely teetered to the pessimism dark side of what is Minnesota sports because I've just been so optimistic for so many years, and I've seen what my dad has been so pessimistic about for so many years. Even though like 5 years ago, I'm like, why are you so negative? But now I can see why he's negative because just with the Wild in a subset. You see them losing consistently in the first round. Like what I was going with the 2017 playoffs is what I was worried about is that we had so many shots on net. And Jake Allen just went off back in that series. Yep. And I was seeing it tonight. We were doing so well against Jake Ottinger, and we just couldn't score, but we scored, and I'm so happy they eventually won.
Cam just showed up.
It was me. I fucking hated you last night.
Okay, calm down.
You were the worst.
Was he overly optimistic?
No,
he was overly pessimistic.
He was pessimistic as fuck. So
it was awful.
He just kept yelling out random playoff years. We're like, stop.
Mainly just 2017.
That was me. And my number 1 pick, if I was able to make it, is the pessimistic fan, and I literally was just because of you last night.
He gets it from his father. He gets
but
it
I
from
I get it from my father.
He got it from his father before him.
Yeah. But I mean, but we talked about it. It's people are negative in Minnesota because they've been through so much turmoil. But it was ultimately we won, and it was all is well in the world. So let's go. All right. Ding ding doo 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 ding doo. 8th. Or 9th?
8th.
It's 8th.
I was doing double fours.
Oh, I thought you had like a thumb out. All right. With the 8th overall pick in the Worst Sports Fans Draft, I myself, JJ, select the know-it-all fan. The one who I wouldn't even probably consider himself a fan. We know some people like this. They probably consider themselves more of a member of a media or even like a journalist. And there's people like this though. They probably think their opinion matters more than anyone else. They think everyone else's takes suck. Their take is the best. Or if you don't know about a certain player, they shit on you or whatever. Like this was Cam. I didn't know really who Donovan Solano was, and he yelled at me. But I'm more so looping. I don't think this even applies to Cam personally. This is like really extreme people like that are like they don't even want to hear your opinion on things, and they don't even think they're a fan. They think they're legitimately a media member or a journalist.
They're up there with Rick Sosa.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I also didn't yell at you because you didn't know him. I yelled at you because you shit on him without knowing him. And he's been great ever since.
That's kind of a know-it-all.
That's the opposite though.
Yeah.
that's you were being presumptuous.
Yeah,
sure.
Put some respect on Donnie
pessimistically.
Barrel's
but there have been instances, Cam, where I don't know who a player is, and you're like, how do you not know him? I'm like, well, I don't. Sorry.
Get better.
Okay, I'm not. I just don't know that much
be
beyond
better.
Minnesota teams.
better.
But
best thing.
but these people are really bad though sometimes, and they can be really annoying, and we know them all. So we all know one or a few.
Depending on the sport, yeah.
Depending on the sport.
Like if you say a certain sport, I would say. I feel like all of us could be that way on a certain sport.
I'm
Yeah.
that way for
Oh,
college basketball.
yeah.
I was gonna say
And
for baseball, yeah, you could be that guy. But
I'm
that's
that way
because
for
you
baseball,
you by far know the most out of all of us.
I am definitely like that with like Gopher football and basketball, specific to like the in some Minnesota teams for sure. Like I could name it. Oh, that year. Oh, yeah, we finished this, or we did this in the Big Ten tournament, or blah 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 blah.
Jake, how did Gopher basketball do in 2009?
2009, they played the Texas Longhorns in the first round of the tournament and lost. And I remember they had a 16-2 lead in the first few minutes of the game.
That's crazy that
He's
you
not
remember
wrong.
that. That's crazy.
And we blew it. We were a 10 seed. They were a 7 seed.
You're almost
I
like
believe.
players like Jason Zucker who could name any game, any play,
any score, yeah.
I don't have that kind of memory.
But I feel like the difference between a know-it-all fan though, like I'm stating a fact, but I don't feel like I'm better than you for knowing that fact. There are some open like fans who are like, no, you don't know that? Are you fucking kidding me? Blah blah blah. Like
You're
that
not a real
kind of
Gopher
shit.
fan
Yeah,
if you don't remember
that-
the 2009 game against
that-
Texas.
See, I'm not saying that. I'm applying. There's the factual fan, which I would more so group Cam in, and there's the know-it-all fan who actually thinks he's better than everyone else because he knows more. He's a bigger fan. Yada yada yada. All that bullshit. So
Right.
that's the fan. It's not a bad thing to know your facts about sports. It's when you think you're a better fan,
Or you have the
because you know-
only opinion.
Yeah, or the
yeah.
only opinion about a player or something or whatever. So, all right.
All right.
Do you? Oh,
Sorry, I'm gonna let you finish. I think my corn dogs are done in the air.
Uh-oh.
fryer.
All right, enjoy your corn dogs.
there
Cam.
you go. All right. Ding ding doo 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 ding doo. With the 9th overall pick in the worst sports fans draft, Bossman selects.
I'm going to say fans who bring up championships as an argument for the lack of talent they currently have. This specifically applies to Packer fans.
Oh yeah.
Really, any major
Blackhawk fans.
Blackhawk fans. If their team finally sucks for the first time in years, they don't just hold their L. They just like to bring up their rings. They just say trophy case. When in all reality, the past doesn't really matter anymore. It was almost like too going back to the Stars. I tweeted like that. Ryan Reeves has scared the shit out of Jamie Benn, and that Jamie Benn's a little bitch. And I saw a Dallas fan quote tweet it with a picture of Jamie Benn hitting Ryan Reeves back in 2017. And it was like, okay, that was what, 8 years ago, or 5 years, 6 years ago?
I can Google too, bro.
Yeah, it's like that
Cool.
literally happened. I'm talking about right now.
Yeah.
Or there were Stars fans who were even bringing up plays that happened against the Wild in the regular season this year, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure we're talking about the game that just happened in the playoffs.
I know.
Yeah, dude, even I've seen Chicago Bear fans be like, "Oh, 0 Super Bowls, Vikings." It's like, dude, you won 1 Super Bowl in 1985, and you weren't even alive to remember it.
I know.
And people don't realize, as Gopher football fans, we're very humbled that we don't do this because we could. We won,
Yeah.
how many championships?
Seven.
In the 60s, but we never bring them up. We could bring those
Oh,
up.
I have before, just
Yeah.
because someone was talking about all the Big Ten championship they won recently.
What bar were we at? Was that Blarney's, or where were we? 'Cause
Well,
the
it was
Wisconsin
Sally's.
fan. Oh, yeah, the Wisconsin fan.
And
you
it
know that.
happened at the game, too. They're like, how many Big Ten championships? 0. I'm like, how many national championships? 0. So I thought that was a little more relevant because they were
Yeah.
talking about championships. But it's
That's
funny.
the only time I've ever seen
I
a
know.
Minnesota fan
But
ever
it's
do that.
ironic because, they're probably also Packer fans, and Packer fans bring
I
up
know.
the first ever Super Bowl, which happened
1960, 1840.
yeah, like before
1715.
before the Civil War.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just fans who like to bring up, I think, just the past in general to make up for what they currently lack. It's like, you know what, just accept it. Just say, you know what, we stink this year. We were good a lot of years before that, and that was fun, but right now we're bad. And you know what, you'll be good again, and you can do the same thing to us in a couple years, because that's how it works in sports. So
But it's people get bitter. It's like, no, this fucker taunted me that one time. I saved it, so now I'm going to bring it up. You know what I'm saying, though? Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
they think that literally means you have nothing in the tank. Like, we got to you. We won. You have to bring up the past championships.
Exactly,
it's,
right?
it's
We're
just,
talking about the
it's-
current
it's
state.
just desperate.
Yeah.
It's so desperate.
At that point, you should know if you're having an argument with one of those fans and they have to go to that, if they have to resort to that, that should just you should just stop engaging and know in your head that you've won the argument.
Yeah.
Because they have to resort to bringing up the past.
Right.
Exactly.
So, yep.
That's annoying. All right. 2 more rounds?
Yep.
Okay.
2 more rounds.
All right.
Final 2 picks.
All right. Ding, ding, doo, 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 ding, doo. With the 10th overall pick in the worst sports fans draft, Wag selects.
The blackout guy. No, this can be super fun to sit next to, or it could be your worst fucking nightmare, right? There's been times where I've sat right next to a drunk guy who we were playing Boston at the time. This is when Lucic still played with Boston. Didn't sit down the whole game and just kept doing Lucic, just like just screaming at him. He's a Wild fan the whole entire game. It was hilarious just because like he was so insistent. He just did not stop doing it the whole game for 3 periods. I lost it. But then you'll see other videos, like you'll see this a lot in football, where you're next to someone who's so drunk they're vomiting in their hands next to you, and you never want to be next to that person, right? So you got, it can either be a blast or it can either be the worst experience of your life.
That was I wasn't blackout, but that was me on the end of the Wolves game, playing game on Friday. I just kept yelling, "Put in Luka Garza." He's in street clothes, and someone eventually turned around. They were super nice. They're like, he's on a 2-way contract. We can't put him in. I'm like, that's bullshit. They were like, you're damn right it is.
You're like, Luka.
Yeah, I was like, Luka Garza is better than Luka Doncic. So, yeah,
It's true.
it's true.
It's true. It's true.
He's in the playoffs. Luka Doncic.
He is.
Luka Donk is not.
Luka Donkey Donk.
Yep.
Luka Donkey. All right. Doon, doo, 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 doo. With the 11th overall pick in the Worst Sports Fans Draft, I myself, JJ, select bandwagoners.
Yep.
Easy pick. People who we've seen these people. Either they are people in Minnesota who are maybe very casual, extremely casual fans. They don't really follow teams until they maybe make the playoffs and start watching the games when they make the playoffs or when they go on a big winning streak, and then they say they're this big fan, blah, 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 blah. No, you're just following them because they're winning and strictly because they're only because they're winning, or because all your friends are following it, so it's something to follow or watch or whatever. It's very annoying. We've seen it you see that shit a lot of times, especially with people who they just pick the New England Patriots because they've won all these Super Bowls, or Tom Brady, or they pick the most recent championship team.
It
or
used,
blah,
to
blah,
be
blah.
it used to be the Packers until last year, right?
Exactly.
Or people who just wear either Yankee or Dodger hats.
Yeah,
Which is
exactly. Yeah,
the world.
For no reason.
Yes.
Cowboys fans.
Yep.
Cowboys fans, like they're probably Golden State Warrior fans and the LA Lakers fans as well. What you name it. Like they just pick the team that's winning, and they really don't have any. Any strong affiliation or a strong connection to why they're a fan of that team. You know what I mean? So it's kind of annoying. So all right.
Yep.
Doon, doon, doo, 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 doon, doon. With the 12th overall pick in the Worst Sports Fans Draft, Bossman selects
Fans who don't like Paul Allen. I'll say it. It's a little biased because we're friends with him, but it blows my mind how much people hate Paul Allen. I don't know if it's for kind of the way he's super religious on his Twitter, but that's just how he is, or if it's just his abundance of energy. But all I have to say is, just from being a degenerate gambler, I've listened to a lot of other broadcasts, and let me tell you, those Sunday naps would be a lot easier without someone like Paul Allen. You could sleep through the whole game with some of the ways that some of these other broadcasters pronounce stuff, and people don't like PA because he's an overly optimistic homer, but I think that's kind of what you want. You want your local market announcer to
love your team,
to love the team,
yes,
and to be biased. So the hate that PA gets, I'll never understand it. I liked him a lot before we even got to know him, but the way that guy just puts so much effort into what he does to provide the best experience. The fact that people just openly hate on him, I'll just never understand it. So I don't like the fans who do that.
Yeah, and he gives content to both sides essentially because he loves the Vikings so much. Where obviously we're all going to share stuff when he's doing a great call of us winning, but he is such a homer that when we lose, his call is so upset, so distraught. He has so much emotion in the call that fan bases from all around the league want to share it when we lose because there's no one like that. He's so passionate and he's screaming, right? So it's just, I love Paul Allen.
And look at all the attention he got. Pat McAfee show, LeBron James, a lot of national media and athletes posted about PA, and they're like, the amount of passion this guy puts into his job, it's incredible.
Exactly.
And a lot of those people didn't realize that PA's been doing that for decades.
Forever.
He's natural, authentic.
He never asked for that attention. This is just what he does.
I know.
Jake and I were at a game. I think it might have been last year or the year before, but he announced corgi races at halftime of the game, and he had just the same amount of passion in his voice for those fucking races as he does when he's doing the football game. That's why you gotta love Paul Allen.
Yep. So
great
people
dude.
who hate PA.
Loves what he does. He's clearly not in it for the money or anything or the fame. He just loves it. The passion is great.
We are, full disclosure, we are extremely biased.
Yeah, Paul Allen.
as
Yes.
both Viking fans and PA fans, but you know what? It doesn't matter. This was a biased draft from the start.
Yep,
True.
pro PA guys. That's why it's a draft.
Yep.
We are individually presenting our opinions on worst fans. All right. Doon, deen, doo, 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 deen, doon. Is it the 13th? I'm losing track. When
Yeah,
a lot of picks.
I think it's
They're
That was
13th.
that was just the 12th.
That was the 12th. Okay, so
Yeah.
I was right. With the 13th overall pick in the worst sports fans draft, Wag selects.
I'm going to go with screamers. People who are screaming at the top of their lungs for routine plays or even close plays. You don't have to scream all the time. The biggest example that I can think of is Eddie Alvarez. He's an old UFC fighter. Conor McGregor beat him to win the belt a bunch of years back. His wife, the whole entire round, just just screaming like whenever Eddie does anything good, whenever he gets punched, whenever he goes for a takedown, she's screaming. There's fans like that for all sports. In hockey, it's kind of like the shoot people because at the same time they'll skate, they'll just yell random shit at all random points of the game. No reason to yell. No reason to yell.
Brittany and Jackson Mahomes are the poster children of screamers.
They spray alcohol over everyone below them and they're
Just
screaming.
Unnecessary amounts of energy. There's difference between like I mentioned, PA dumping it into his job and people just having that much energy and being loud for no reason.
If your team scores, a scream's fine. If there's a fight, a scream's fine.
Right, because everyone else is screaming.
But if there's a big rebound in the slot,
Effectively.
it's like let them score before you
start.
scream.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like when we're talking about like literal screams too, like people just randomly scream. It's like what you hear during like when opposing team is shooting a free throw at the free throw line. You hear people screaming.
Yeah.
Sure, that might be a little more appropriate, but that could still be annoying. But like you hear those screams in random points of the game that make no sense.
Like someone just got stabbed in the back.
yeah, it's like who's screaming?
Right.
It is a little fucking annoying. All right. Doon, deen, doon, 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 doon. With the 13th overall pick in the worst sports fans draft, I myself, JJ, select the tanker. This is the fan that always wants their team to tank, no matter what. As soon as a team sucks or starts losing even just a little bit, it says the team should tank as if these professional athletes who are paid on performance and still want to win every game in, game out, just want to tank the season. And I just feel like you should want your team to win no matter what the circumstances. And
Yeah, take a drink.
Take a drink.
Yeah.
Take a drink. But I just feel like you should want your team to win under any circumstance. Like this happened with, I know so many people in the 2017, 2018, 2019 wild seasons where we barely made the playoffs as wild card teams, and I know so many people, they should just tank. They're not going to do that. That's not going to happen. We're not guaranteed a first overall pick. We're not guaranteed even that first overall pick is going to pan out. I want to see them in the playoffs no matter what, even if it is a first round exit. It's better than not being in the playoffs. I still want to see my team win no matter what, even if they have a shitty record. But these people just consistently want their teams to tank, even though I just don't feel like it's something that players aren't going to do.
Barstool Chief, the tank for Bedard.
Yeah.
True.
It just
now that all the leagues have a lottery, it's like you're not even
I know.
guaranteed to get the
Yeah.
first overall pick.
Yeah.
like if I was in if I was in probably Chiefs position, I maybe jokingly say tank, but I would still be watching every wild game every night, wanting them to win. Like I don't want them to lose game. I don't want to see my team.
You don't
lose.
necessarily want them to lose, but you feel less bad if they lose.
Yeah, exactly. Because there's not as high implications like they're fighting for a playoff spot. But I don't.
It's
but
better.
they're-
Yeah.
These are the people that almost just as soon as a team goes on a little losing streak, even when they're maybe a game or two out of the playoffs, like people did it with the Vikings. When they have one or two bad games and they're still above 500, they should just tank. And those people are legitimately serious.
People did it with the Wild when they went through their rough patch.
Yeah.
Early
in the year.
After the spring break or
they should just tank.
All-Star break. I saw the word tank for Bedard being thrown around seriously.
It's
And
serious.
Look at now we're up one game in the first round against Dallas.
But there's some of those
road.
people are still probably very serious about it. They're just going to lose in the first round. Dude, it's better than not being in the playoffs. It does so much.
We're
to
not getting a
your
good
team in the
pick
playoffs.
anyways at this point, unless we're so bad.
Dude, how fun was just watching just playoff hockey yesterday?
Oh,
it was
so fun.
amazing. Just
Yeah.
the game,
I
I was so dialed in.
I don't know why you wouldn't want that every year.
Even if like they lost, it would have been very depressing. But like it's the atmosphere and environment, just watching playoff hockey and any playoffs in any sport, is incredible.
And that's what blows my mind because we've never gone through like a long, at least that we can remember, really a long one of these series. Could you imagine the Wild doing this for the next 2 months?
Yeah.
How fun this would
That
be.
would be so weird. We're just not used to it.
I don't know if
know.
I'm gonna have the stamina for that. I'm legitimately yawning right now at 7:26. Last night was just that was a marathon.
See, the nice thing is, as the rounds go on, the start times would get more and more reasonable.
Because there's less teams playing.
And we got 2 weekend games coming up here. We just got to make it through one more weekday game.
Yeah, I think the Friday night game is at 8:30, but it's a Friday night.
It's a Friday
so who gives
night.
a fuck?
And the Sunday game's at 5.
5:30. But still,
I'm tired.
It's huge.
I'm tired. I'm visually, for the people on YouTube who are probably like, Bossman doesn't give a fuck about the podcast anymore. I'm legitimately tired because what are you doing?
I don't know. My brain's fucked.
Dude, how would you? What is this? What, did you bend your cap
bent
in half and you put it in your?
And then starts rattling it around.
Yep. It sounds like a cowbell.
But why start?
I don't know. I'm like I'm tired too.
Yeah, this is. All right, let's
wrap
it up.
Round it out.
All right,
yeah.
with the last pick in the worst sports. Okay, ding. You gotta do it. All right, with the last pick in the worst sports fans draft, Bossman selects.
Let's end it with fans at hockey games who stand up with their hand up every time one of their players falls on the ice. I guess this could go in football too. Anytime
I
something
definitely
happens
do
that does this, it's just horribly annoying. It's very biased. It's like, we know that you want a penalty, but your player slipped. He's on ice.
You're talking about the Stars fan base last night.
They were doing it quite a bit last night. Every single time there was 2 guys who'd get tied up and the Dallas player would fall first, the entire fan base stands up with their hand up.
Yep.
And, I'm guilty of it too. So half these things I do as well. So, I'm guilty of it, but there is nothing more annoying than watching an away game and, seeing the opposing fan base standing up every fucking time something doesn't go their way. So.
Yeah.
A clean hit. We're talking clean hockey hits.
Yep.
I definitely do that.
Oh, and I do it too, for sure.
But I try to be really good about it. Like, if it's like in football or hockey, I'll tell myself, it's happened multiple times where fans are booing around me at a Vikings game, that's just a clean hit. I'm not going to boo that. Sorry.
Yeah.
Or in hockey, that's just a good hockey hit. Because I'm I wouldn't want that the other way around either. It's I try to be unbiased.
I get at this point of the game why you want a power play, but that was not a penalty.
Sorry.
Sit the fuck down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just sit down.
Yep. Well, folks, that just about does it for another episode of It's a Bit. Thanks so much for tuning in and listening. As we mentioned at the beginning of the show, you can get our Plant the Flag hat on our site. There's only 15 left as of Tuesday night, and they're gone forever. So make sure to get them now. You can get it on the shop tab of our main menu. You can also get it using the link in our pinned tweet or the bio of our Instagram or TikTok. And while you're there, make sure to give us a follow on all socials, 10K Takes, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. Make sure to go to our website as well. We're writing a ton of awesome blogs. Website just got redone as well. So there's a lot of awesome written content on there to get you through your workday. And while you're there too, make sure to check out all of our other podcasts we have here under the 10K Network for all of your local Minnesota and just sports overall podcasts. So, folks, thanks so much for supporting 10,000 Takes and It's a Bit as always, and we'll see you next week.